Like, hey, Ox, you ever come into practice and you got to get your man ready? Because I got to get my man Ron ready. My man Ron, he lacking some energy this morning. I got to get him correct. What's up, brother?
Chill.
What's up, brother?
It's never the energy over here, man. Hey, I might lack takes. I might lack, the stats that I might need to know, but energy is never a question. Y'all, we got a lot to talk about today. But specifically, we are going to start with the Detroit Pistons and the Orlando Magic. Now, here's the thing, y'all. Sometimes you get punched in the face. Some people fall. Some people quit. But the other people that really have the heart of a champion, they bounce back, and that's exactly what the Pistons did. They took the best hit, potentially, from the Magic, and they said, you know what? Us being the number one seed in the East was not a fluke. Cade Cunningham being second team All-NBA is not a fluke. Jalen Duren being him is not a fluke, and we really do have a serious team. And they were able to, take care of business last night, in large part due to a crazy third quarter run. Fellas, before we get into anything, we got some special guests in the house tonight. It's going to be a hell of a show. I got Big Low in the house with us. And I got my man Carson in the building. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, guys?
Nerds! Happy to be here.
I love nerds! Yes! Nerds!
What's going on, y'all?
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it.
Love nerds.
Yeah.
It's going to get chill on the intro, bro.
Absolutely. I love nerds. That's me pulling you out of the garbage can. That's me. Yes,
Thank you. I was pretty deep in there. I appreciate
Absolutely. That's me pulling you out the trash. That's me picking up your tray because this goofy over here that knocked your tray over in the cafeteria. That's me. I got you, brother. Love nerds.
that. Thanks, Joe.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, fellas? How you feeling?
Good, man. Playoff basketball. You can't beat it. It's been a ton of fun and excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so we got the Pistons and we got the Magic. Last night, the Pistons took care of business. Even the score, 98-83. The series is now 1-1. What are our thoughts based on both games? But really, though, what are our thoughts based on last night's game?
I think we're in for a rock fight throughout this series. Like, I don't think it was necessarily a total overreaction, people being like the Magic are going to make this tough on them after game one. I do think a lot of people got a bit too concerned because I think the Detroit advantages in this series come down to a few things. They have by far the best and most comfortable player on the floor in this series, and that is Cade. They also have by far the most dominant unit in this series, and that is their defense. And Orlando's defense has been playing awesome over these last two games, but the Pistons defense is like historically great unit, and they don't really get talked about that way because OKC is at the top of the league. But like Detroit set the record for stocks this year. They're a top 15 relative defense of the last 30 years if you look at the numbers. So I just think you saw them really max out their defensive level, make life extremely hard on all of Orlando's stars and take all those guys out of their element. And then I thought you saw them impose themselves more on the offensive glass like they often do, which they couldn't really do in game one. So I still think Detroit has had some issues in terms of their half-court offense for sure. I mean, they still only made 6 threes in this game, and Orlando's been able to sort of take Duren away off the roll and exploit some of their spacing issues. But I just think Detroit's the much better team for a reason, and we can get into these sort of ugly, close, defensive-minded games that's still going to favor Detroit because they're the better defense. They have the best offensive player by far, and I think they're ultimately the better offense too.
I unfortunately disagree with my man over here by thinking that this is going to be a rock fight. I don't think Orlando wins another game in the series, and not just because they blew them out yesterday, but because of what I've seen throughout the course of the season with them. I said to these guys up here that they had their first scorer in Cade Cunningham. They had their second scorer, who, by the way, guys, Jalen Duren has been completely taken out of this series. He's been completely and utterly ineffective. Other than that third quarter, he's absolutely given them nothing so far. And the reason why that's been going on is because all Carter has done is matched his physicality. Now, once you match a guy's physicality, now we have to have the skill level, and it just hasn't been there. With that being said, the third scorer for the Detroit Pistons, I thought, was their defense. And I thought that that's the thing that Orlando doesn't have. And they get it from a multitude of ways. And you saw it yesterday when they went on that 30-3 run. Just so you guys know, they didn't score almost until 4 minutes left in the third quarter. when you have that kind of offense where we could almost shut you down for a quarter based on our defense, and we can rely on our defense as much as we do, I mean, I think that's a recipe for success. I don't think that Orlando has that third thing. I doubt very seriously that I'm going to get not Jalen Durham. I doubt very seriously that I'm going to get Paolo going for 19, and then Carter going for 18, and then Suggs going for 18. And like, we got 4 guys going for 16, 17, 18. I don't think that that's going to happen because, 1, I don't think their offense is good enough. And 2, I don't think that their defense generates that much offense for them to do that. So I just don't. I watched this Detroit group. And yes, I do worry about their secondary scoring and the fact that Jalen Duren has been able to be taken out of this series, but I think that their third option, which is their defense, has been able to supplement, and I don't think Orlando has that.
Yeah, Chill. I'm gonna have to disagree with both of you. I do agree it's gonna be a rock fight. I do believe it's gonna be a dog fight, but I also believe that the Magic still ultimately win this series. I don't believe in Cade Cunningham's ability to carry this offense through the whole entire series. I think when you got Orlando, when you got three guys that can be their best offensive player any night, you got more offense coming from Orlando. And also the Orlando defense is pretty good too. I mean, if we take one quarter of this series, that third quarter last night, and we're not going to pretend like that's what we're going to see throughout this whole entire series. I don't see what y'all see in this Detroit offense being able to continue to do that. So I still got the Magic in 6, maybe 7.
But the Detroit offense didn't have to do much. They scored 98 points, and they won the game comfortably because the defense was that suffocating. And the Magic offense is also that flawed. Like, yeah, they have 3 dudes who theoretically can be their best offensive player on any given night, but all 3 of those dudes are way less consistent than Cade. And those 3 guys, like, they don't complement each other like the Detroit team does. Like, the fit stuff with Franz and Paolo, I think, is still an issue. And then you look at the Detroit offense, and it's like, no, they don't have a lot of talent other than Cade, but they have a team build that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, Orlando's done a good job of limiting Duren, but him being like this big, powerful interior play finisher, that makes sense. The elite spot-up shooting of Duncan Robinson, Harris being sort of this secondary scorer for you who can get his quick stuff from the mid-range, be a solid jump shooter, like Asar in the dunker spot in transition, and then Cade being this awesome lead playmaker. I just think Detroit is a much better team for a reason. It's not a fluke that this team won 60 games and Orlando was really struggling to figure things out all year. It's not necessarily a question of top-end talent. It's a question of depth and a fit and identity and the ability to play at a high level on both ends. And I do think Detroit is pretty clearly the better team. So, like, Chill, I'm not disagreeing that Orlando might not win another game in this series, so I might be with you there. I just think they're all going to be pretty close, competitive games. Like, I just don't think Detroit has the offense to pull away. And so then maybe, Ox, it's like if Orlando's the better team in the clutch, that's how they have a path. But I can't see them winning this series. I'm going to be real, because I don't trust their clutch offense enough.
Right. My thing is, I just don't see that third quarter happening again. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I feel like it's gonna come down to close games. It's going to come down to dogfights, and I just think Orlando has more options at the end of the day. Like, throughout the game, I could see, Cade doing his thing, but once it comes to that last 6-5 minutes of the game, I believe we're going to have some really close ones, and I just think that Orlando has more personnel to finish it out, make big shots, whereas I think Detroit has less options. And I also think that Jalen Duren is going to continue to struggle. Like, I believe that the physicality, I'm not going to say it's bothering him, but I think it's making him look human. Whereas throughout the season, we were able to see him physically impose his will, do certain things against certain teams. But once you have one team, so now we have a team that can match that intensity, match that aggression, match that physicality, and you have to play them every night. You don't get to go from Charlotte to Miami to Sacramento to San Francisco, and play different people. You're playing the same team that's going to physically impose their will against you the same way you do. And I just think that Jalen Duren is going to continue to struggle with that. I think if you could keep him out of this series, you have a really big shot. And once again, I've said this, and this wasn't first game, game 1 talking. This was my prediction from the beginning, that Orlando could win this series. So I still got them in 7, maybe 6.
That's pretty bold. I mean, I think that, like you said, Ox, I think that some of these games could come down to clutch time offense, but I don't want to undersell how dominant that third quarter was for Detroit. I mean, that's one of the most dominant quarters we've seen from a team all year long. Like that point differential, 22 was the biggest of any team tied in a single quarter this season, and was all on that defense. And you're talking about the Magic having more options to turn to offensively. If we're looking at them in a vacuum, I don't necessarily disagree, but I fail to see how any of these guys create real advantages against a Detroit defense that has athletic advantages all over the court. I mean, they have rim protection everywhere, ball pressure everywhere. And to be honest, I just think this Detroit this Detroit defense swallows them up a little bit and kind of gave you a little glimpse into the prism and what they could do to dominate other teams later in the playoffs. I don't know, man. I think you're going to have to get some outlier pull-up jump shooting from Franz and Paolo. I don't think Franz is at 100% with what he's dealing with, and I just think that that's what the Magic offense is going to rest on, where Detroit, I feel like throughout this series, is going to be able to turn defense into offense easier. And I just trust Cade more than anybody else in this series to carry me across the finish line. I just fail to see any real advantages for Orlando.
Is Cade going to play at this level for 6 straight games?
He's going to have to. Yes, he's going to have to do that.
I think it's more likely him than a guy like Paolo.
But I think there's something to be said about having the best player in a series, and we don't know who's going to show up and who's going to be taken out of the series. I don't think anyone anticipated Jalen Duren to be taken out of this series after the season he had. So there's something to be said about having the best player. I also think that we sometimes associate breaking games open with offense, but the Detroit defense is what broke the game open yesterday for me. Like 38-16 in the third quarter is sort of unheard of. And the defense is so suffocating. To Carson's point, I think they'd get a lot more love if OKC didn't exist, because to me, when they're clicking, they're just as good. Like I messaged you guys, and Orlando had 49 points with like a few minutes left in the third. And I mean, to me, watching Asur Thompson, like he might be the Detroit's second best player on defense alone. Like watching him just be everywhere is like, it's a joy. But I just think the defense is going to be too much. And then you couple that with Cade, what he can do at the end of the game, and clearly being the best player in this series. I agree with you, Chill. I don't know if they're going to win another game, but I do think it's going to be a dogfight. I think both teams are not that great offensively.
Mars, you've been saying that about Asur Thompson, how effective he is on defense and how much that affects their offense. Ox, I don't know if you noticed, brother, less than 3 minutes left in the third quarter, they had scored 6 points. That's it.
I watched the game.
Shut the door on them dudes yesterday.
I just don't take one game to the next game to the next game. I think every game is its own game. I don't.
Sure.
I'm not taking that third quarter into game 3. That's been done and happened. They're gonna play in a couple, another day or so, and then it's a new game.
They just have so many ridiculous defenders. It's like you go up and down the list, and obviously Asar is like an absolute freak, but the number of insane perimeter defenders they can throw at you, if it's Javonte Green, if it's Ron Holland, like in the instincts of all these guys, I thought they did such a great job of helping on Paolo. Like in the first game, I thought Paolo looked pretty comfortable. I thought he was playing bully ball. I thought he was the best version of himself. In this game, I thought he just didn't know where the help was coming from. And it's because these guys have such phenomenal instincts and they're such great athletes. Like they're taking the ball from him. They're blocking him from behind. And Paolo was the guy who they shut down the least. I mean, they completely iced out Bane and pretty much completely iced out Franz as well. So I just think it's a very sustainable formula. Like, I don't look at that third quarter and I'm like, oh, that's not Detroit. It's like, no, that literally is Detroit. Like, that's exactly what Detroit does. They kill you with this ridiculous defense. They get out and run in transition. Cade elevates and he's the best player on the floor. They beat you on the offensive glass. Like, to me, that was when Detroit started to look more like the Detroit I expected to see coming into this series. Again, it's not that offense is going to come easy. It's just if we get into these low scoring battles, Detroit's still the better team, and a lot of these things still favor them.
Mars,
Carson,
did you see the difference? I asked Mars a question real quick. Mars, did you see the difference last night?
In
Asor, did you see what Asor? He got his first foul. He got his first foul. He got his first foul 4 minutes into the game. He got his first foul 4 minutes into the game instead of 5 minutes into the fourth. Hit somebody. Bro. Hit somebody.
Interesting theory.
Carson.
Yeah.
Chill. Sure. Logan. I gotta push back just a little bit because I'm more on Ox's side. Now, obviously, Detroit, like, you don't win that many games in a regular season. You don't dominate a regular season. You don't have the second best record in the NBA. You don't just do that without being good. My only thing is, we can all agree this is an A-tier defense, S-tier defense, even if you want to go there. But what tier is their offense in? And this is a genuine question. What tier is their offense in? What would you guys say?
Like C tier?
Would be.
You talking about Detroit? You talking about Detroit, Ron?
Yeah.
B
well,
minus.
where's Orlando's offense?
B minus?
Yeah, B minus.
Oh, wait, this ain't about Orlando.
Well, I mean,
we can do Orlando next. We can do Orlando next.
We'll stay with Detroit. We'll stay with Detroit. B minus, Ron. And
B minus, chill.
I think that's
I'll go
about
C.
right.
I'll go C plus. I'll go C
B minus. Well, first of all, when you got a 26, 27 a game league guard who absolutely distributes at a high level and he generates as much offense as he does, and please don't leave out what these dudes literally just got finished talking about. My defense is a part of my offense. We do that with players all the time, where we make players make other guys play defense, which is part of their offense. I mean, absolutely. I would go as far as to say B minus.
I think that's a good point from Chill, because in terms of like the aesthetics of the half court offense, I mean, they're bottom tier in the playoff field for sure. But like Chill said, like, they are one of the top transition offenses in basketball. They are one of the top offensive rebounding teams in basketball. So they do create margin there where it's not going to be as pretty as it is effective. Like, again, you look at the lack of shooting and the lack of creation around Cade, and even Cade isn't always efficient as a scorer. And then you look up and it's like Detroit was 9th in offensive rating this year. So I think C tier, honestly, is where I would put them still, because I have some of these concerns. But again, we can get to Orlando when we get there. I think it's more of a problem for them.
And my only thing is, I know the defense is great, but I still feel like maybe, just maybe, the Magic guard them better than they guard the Magic. Just simply on, well, I mean, we still had game one. But simply on, and I don't even think they've thrown everything at Cade. But if you throw the kitchen sink at Cade, what else can Detroit do offensively? And my thing is, maybe Cade is good enough to the point where he can handle that type of pressure. He can handle double teams, unlike some people we know. He can handle double teams and all of that good stuff. But my thing is kind of to Ox's point. Can Cade really carry for 6 games and be awesome for 6 games? I love Cade a lot.
Does he have to?
That's a lot.
Does he have to though? And the reason why
he does to win, he does. Yeah.
He didn't have to be awesome last night. He was awesome.
He probably has to get you 2 games. I'd say.
Well, he got us 1 yesterday.
You need to win 4 games to win a series. You don't need to be great in 6 of them. Be great in 4 of them.
That's it.
Right,
and we already got 1, so now we got to be great in 3 more.
So it's got to be 3 more. He was great in 2 already. So 3 more. That's 5. I was saying 6 is giving Orlando the benefit of the doubt. Let's call it 5 then.
Swiper, I'm a fan of history. You know, I studied history when I was in college. I believe that if something was done once, odds are it's going to be done again. And I am having flashbacks from 2001. That Los Angeles Lakers team had 10 days off. That Philadelphia team won Game 7 against Milwaukee on Sunday. Game 1 was on Wednesday. So they had just got out of a fight, got right into a fight, and they basically woke the Lakers up. They didn't win another game in that series. And I think the same thing is going on right now. This Detroit Pistons team, they had 8 days off. They weren't doing anything. That Orlando team had just beat Charlotte on Friday game, and I think their playoff series started on Sunday. So they literally just got out of a fight and they just woke Detroit up. And I think we're going to get right back to it with Detroit. So,
what's your thoughts on that, Swiper? Just this series as a whole. And by the way, nice hat. That's a beautiful hat.
That is a dope hat, by the way. I like that.
It's old. Somebody said
that's a good color on you.
Somebody said that they did a better job guarding Detroit than Detroit has them, and I think the numbers bear that out. Detroit's offense has been garbage in this series so far outside of Cade. The only thing they've been good at is like isolation and transition and awful offensive rebounds. That's it. So I think some of this is just going to be shot luck, because when in the game 1, when Janice Jenkins and them had wide open opportunities, they went on little runs where they were able to connect, but they don't have any consistency out of Cade Cunningham. And I think the issue is that if Paolo, Franz, Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Wendell Carter, they're what they do very well is they can get downhill, they can attack the paint, they can get to the free throw line, and they have like convenient shooters. And they have obviously the really elite shooter in Desmond Bane, who didn't have a good game 1, whatever game 2. I think some of this is the Magic. The issue for them all year has been their consistency in their offensive output. And I think some of this is just going to come down to, are they going to be able to find enough of a rhythm on offense and to be able to attack Detroit in the ways that they have? And the thing is, they have a matchup advantage all up and down the wings outside of Cade because they're bigger than them on the wing. So I think that this is going to be a little bit longer of a series than I first initially had suspected. I think yesterday was a really bad game. I think the third quarter obviously was the one that made the game get away. But I want to say Desmond Bane in this series, I think I don't remember what he shot. If he made 6 shots in the first game, he might be shooting sub 40% in this series.
He was 2 for 11 yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think that I think that the Magic, if they can find a way to get some of their rhythm back in game 3, I absolutely think they can win that game. I don't trust anybody on Detroit outside of Cade. And to the Jalen Duren point, this goes back to what I said about Wendell Carter Jr. a couple weeks ago. He just doesn't have a matchup that's favorable for him when he's on the floor. And so we'll see. I mean, I think that, we'll see how Paolo responds. We'll see how Franz responds in this next game. Like I said, I just have not been impressed, even yesterday, with what Detroit has done offensively. I think obviously they're uber reliant on Cade Cunningham to be able to generate offense and to be able to drive. He's only made 1 of 6 from 3 in this last game, but there's nobody on the team that I'm afraid of when I'm the Magic. And everybody you put on the court that you want to use for offense, we feel like we can have our way with defensively as well. And so that comes into mismatch hunting and trying to figure out the best way to line up your offensive possession. So,
but
I think Detroit should win this game. But go ahead.
There's really only 1 or 2 guys on the Detroit roster who you feel like Orlando thinks they can attack. Maybe 3, like Robinson, Dennis Jenkins, and Kevin Huerter. But they were doing such a good job of helping every time that Paolo got that Duncan Robinson matchup that he didn't get anything out of it. So again, when you talk about which team's guarding the other better, no question, Orlando has guarded Detroit well. But Detroit just held Orlando to 51 half-court points in that basketball we watched yesterday. A 63 offensive rating in the half court. That is unfathomable defense. Absolutely ridiculous.
I just haven't that this year too, though, Carson. So I'm saying that's been their issue this year. It's their offensive creation.
Totally. 100%. And that's going to remain their issue. And against a top tier defense, that's going to be a problem. And I think specifically Cade being the best, intermediate shot maker by far and the most comfortable playing in that area is a big deal in this series because both these teams have ridiculous rim protection. Both these teams are doing everything they can to pack the paint, to take away the rim. And you've got one guy who's really comfortable scoring from 8 to 15 feet, and that's Cade. And I think that Cade is going to be more of a scorer throughout this series than a playmaker. Probably he got the playmaking going more in game 2, but Orlando's doing an awesome job of taking away those interior passes. But if you're telling me I got to choose between Cade working his way to the short mid-range versus Paolo settling, or Franz won't even take jumpers, but if you get Franz to settle, I think Cade being the best player in the series by a lot is a really big
deal. Do you think there's a world where Detroit can fall? Sorry, Ox, last question, my bad. Because in game 1, Detroit had an 81 half-court offensive rating. Do you think there's another game like that they have in the books where they're unable to score outside of Cade and they have no way of generating consistent pressure towards the rim?
I think that is possible because I think Detroit's offense is super flawed. But I also think Detroit showed an ability to win without Cade this year. I mean, they were 13-5 without him. They showed an ability to win in off-Cade nights. They won in games when Cade shot 19% against Phoenix, a good team, 23% against Boston, a good team, 32% against Cleveland, a good team. Again, all of the half-court offensive burden is on Cade, but they are such a crazy, athletically, physically imposing team that, the burden on their half-court offense is just lowered. And against an offense as limited as Orlando's, I think Detroit can easily win in ugly offensive nights. Game 2 was still an ugly offensive night, and they won comfortably because the defense was that great. Cade did his job. I also think we're due for a big Duncan Robinson game. I think he is sort of the offensive weapon here that isn't getting talked about enough. I also think Dennis Jenkins, is a key for Detroit because he was so good in the non-Cade minutes, and he is, the rare other ball handler for them. He needs to step up. I think they are going to need more offensive contributions out of Cade if they want to win comfortably, but to win at all, out of guys other than Cade, but to win at all, I think they've got their formula.
See that right there, Carson, is what I'm curious about, because if we're expecting a big game from Duncan, Dennis, I'm curious to know, what are we expecting from Desmond Bane?
Yeah, he's been underwhelming.
That's what I'm. And Desmond Bane, who's clearly a better player than all those guys you named.
For sure.
We have to expect that he's going to, in just based on assumptions, if we're going to assume Duncan Robinson.
Why are you asking about Desmond Bane?
Well, because I'm
no. You specifically, you buddy. Let me. You. Yes. You.
What do you?
Not him. Not him. You. Why are
what
you bringing up Desmond Bane when we're talking about other players in this series having to step up for the Orlando Magic?
Because that's not what we're talking about. He was talking.
Are you
listening, Ron?
Ron just wants to argue.
I understand what you're saying. You can say what you want to say about Franz here in a second. I'm talking about what let's stay focused. Carson, I'm sorry, he threw me off for a second. Forgive him. He has terrible table manners.
I just don't think you should be bringing up Desmond Bane.
I mean, he eats with his elbows on the table. He's smacking. He's reaching
with his
over
hands. He's picking the steak up with his hands.
Don't forget about this.
That's what he's doing. Picking the steak up with his hands. We apologize, guys. This is what happens.
Forgive my brother Carson. He has terrible table manners. So
as you were saying,
if we're assuming that Dennis Jenkins and Duncan Robinson and these guys are going to wake up, and to Ron's point, don't we have to assume that Franz might play a little better? Getting in the flow.
That's
of
all I was asking. I just wanted to butt
the reason I'm saying that is because I think Desmond Bane is already in that game shape. I think Desmond Bane's already had a pretty good season. I think we can rely on Desmond Bane to come through a little more than we can Franz in these next couple games. So that's why I'm asking,
who's the Magic's best player?
Well, right now, it's Paolo.
Well, if we're doing defense, if we're including defense,
right now it's Paolo. But I think it's Franz. But we all know that Franz has come into this out of shape. He's not hurt anymore, but he's not in good shape because he missed 50 games. So that's why I'm.
When I used that context the other day when I was asked the Jason Tatum question, I almost got strung out up here.
And Ron, on top of that,
you're talking to me though, Ron. That wasn't me.
No,
I'm talking about. So let's not talk about what about this, what about that. Let's just talk about what we're facing.
Okay, what are we on?
Also, too, you are the main person that always says if you out on the court, you got to hoop. If you're injured, go sit. In the words of you, if you injured, go sit your ass down.
If you're on the court, you're not getting any excuses from me. I'm not making any excuses for Franz. I'm not making any excuses for Franz. I'm talking about Desmond Bane coming through playing well. I'm talking
about Franz coming through. It's not a narrative. I'm saying if you think Franz is up here, don't go to their third best player and say their third best player has to step up. Let's talk about Franz Wagner.
Why not?
What do you mean why not? Franz Wagner had 4 points last night.
All right, so look, I'm not going to let you derail this to.
It's not a derail. It's not at all.
All right, so Franz needs to play better.
So you don't want to talk about your mans.
What happened to him?
I didn't do that.
Did anybody? What
that was a Wi-Fi thing. That was a Wi-Fi thing. He's not even in the lobby. So
Ron.
Ball don't lie. Ball don't lie.
Thank God.
Even though
Stream God's got him. Stream God's got him.
With how the series is going, if Desmond Bane were to come through with 3, Desmond Bane level games, you know what I'm saying, some better shooting than what we've seen so far, I think that also can swing things into Orlando's favor as well. And to Ron's point, Franz Wagner played very bad last night, as far as offensively and stuff. So I think I don't think that Detroit, their defense is great, but I don't think their defense is to the level of that, like being able to just box these guys up.
See, I kind of think it is
top 3 defense this year. What are you talking about, Ox?
I mean, Orlando's got quite a good defense as well.
Okay, even with their defense, and Mars, I know we got the nerds up here, we got the numbers guy, but Mars is my numbers guy. He usually fact checks me. So Mars, with that being said, this Orlando team throughout the course of the season, they have 34 games where they scored under league average. Of those 34 games, 9 of them have been under 100 points. With that being said, why am I to assume that this Orlando team is just going to turn it on because the playoffs are going on? Why am
How many of those games was Franz there for?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That point right there, Ox, the fact that how many of those games was Franz there? Right, so he just got back not too long ago. And now we're in the playoffs, and we're running up on a Detroit team that's rolling in the playoffs right now. They just smoked these guys, and now they're getting it back together. So why am I to assume that this Detroit team, that this Orlando team is just going to turn it on defense, just turn it on offensively when they haven't done that all year?
Well, because Franz missed 50 games.
I think
I
for
agree.
me, it's a good point
Moss
because
is my fact check guy.
I just think we keep walking past the fact that when we talk about regular season Orlando, I think we keep walking past the fact that Franz missed 50 games.
Well, I mean, it's a good point too. I mean, none of the big three really played. They had less than 20 games, all three of these guys
19.
together.
They
Paolo,
played 19
Suggs,
together.
and Franz.
25. I'm sorry.
The issue that I keep coming back to is that
hard.
I just fail to see any actual advantages the Orlando Stars have against Detroit. And I do think that it's like Franz's best advantage is that he gets downhill and he drives on, physically limited defenders. And again, against a matchup like Detroit, you're just not going to have many of those guys ever on the court at once. It's Duncan Robinson, it's Tobias Harris. And like Carson was saying earlier, even when these wings get that advantage that they could theoretically attack, Detroit is relentlessly playing in the gaps and sending doubles. And I don't know what you guys think. I don't think Orlando has the surrounding shooting to actually punish Detroit's defense for packing the paint and loading up on ball handlers, while all of Detroit's stars have real offensive flaws like ball handling issues. And that just leads into Detroit being able to leak out and create easy offense that way too. I agree. I don't think Franz is healthy. The big three hasn't played together, but it's not really like Orlando getting back to this baseline. I just specifically in this matchup struggle to see any kind of advantages that Orlando can easily create. I don't see it with any of them. Paolo, Franz, Bane, Suggs. I just think Detroit's got the right buttons to press defensively, and Orlando can't punish them.
I was hoping that Wi-Fi kind of tricked for a little while longer. Just a little while longer.
My housemaid running around kicking stuff around. I might have to fire her. This is the third time she did
as you were
that this
saying,
week.
Damien, you were making a point before you were rudely interrupted.
I was going to say I think the offensive stuff in a lot of ways it feels like a 4 to 5 seed, masquerading as this 1 to 8 seed. It's a little bit weird with the offense, but I think this could be also a situation where Orlando just stole game 1 as the feel-out game. I think that we've seen so much evidence this year of Orlando's offense being so poor that for me it comes down to a fundamental question on, do I bank on the Orlando Magic offense turning around, or do I bank on the defense I've seen all year from Detroit? And for me, I go with the latter. I just think that Detroit's defense is going to hold up. I think they're going to have offensive issues. Ultimately, they're going to have the best the best player in the series, and the best guy at the end of games as well, which is going to matter. But I just can't see a world that exists where Orlando has enough offense to win this series. And Ox, to your point, Franz missed a lot of games. It's not necessarily a good thing if he hasn't logged a lot of minutes with Bane and Paolo at the most important time of the year. That's a hard thing to turn on as well in the playoffs.
Right, I get you, but he's so used to playing with Paolo already. I think it's more so just Desmond Bane making shots. You know what I'm saying?
He and Paolo don't play well together.
By the way, let's make sure we don't leave that part out. That's very important to mention that.
I mean, you can mention it, but I just disagree with that. I think they work well together. I think they've played well together since they've been together. I just think there's been other things getting in the way, health being the main one. I think this Orlando team has been a pretty good team since they've been, together. I think they've been getting better and better, and I think they run into health issues more than anything. I think if we go into certain numbers and we go into where they've been finishing throughout the seasons, if you go that way, you can say that they don't play well together. But once again, I disagree.
I mean,
Ox,
I think,
really quickly. Ox, let's take the basketball off the table for a second. You and me, we talking hoops. How does how does Paolo complement Franz? How does Franz complement Paolo?
How do they complement each other?
How do they do that?
Just by being two big versatile wings. I think they give you an opportunity to pick on the other team's perimeter defenders, especially being that size, being able to take players off the dribble, not having to start in the block. Both these dudes are 6'10", 6'11", big guys, skilled guys with the ball. I think that's a compliment of itself. They don't have to be on the same side of the floor working different sides. It's very rare that you run into a team that can guard both of them. You know what I mean?
I
think it's more so that they're redundant than complementary, though.
I don't see that.
That's what I was thinking
if they do some of the same thing, especially with Franz being a very, very good defender too. I don't see
Franz
it
is a
like.
good defender.
but-
I'm not gonna argue that.
Offensively, there's only one ball. And I agree with you. Like, I mean, we saw it in game one, right? We saw it obviously against Charlotte. Like, these are a couple of power downhill wings. Franz is an unbelievable driver finisher. And when Paolo locks in, like, especially when he's playing out of the post, he's just a lot to handle. So for sure, they can both put pressure on the basket individually. But it's like every time that one of those guys is going to go and try and attack a matchup that they like one-on-one, one of the others is off the ball, and neither of them are comfortable playing off the catch, knocking down shots off the catch. And then it's the totality of this Orlando offense, because then you've also got Wendell Carter Jr., who struggled to shoot this year. You've got Suggs, who's very inconsistent as a shooter. You get into the bench and it gets even rougher. So this is where, again, I think you can look at the individual talents for Orlando and say, oh, this guy can be the best player in this game. This guy can be the best player in that game. But there's a reason the formula hasn't worked. And it is because there are just some blind spots in this offense. Whereas Detroit maybe lacks some high-end talent around Cade, but like the boxes are mostly checked for that offense. Again, I wish that they had more shooting, but like their formula as a team makes sense. I look at Orlando and I'm like, there's a lot of ways in which it doesn't.
Are you saying that because neither one of them are elite jump shooters? Is that your actual issue? Could if they were better jump shooters, would that then change the equation for you? Like I guess
absolutely.
So when with wings, typically it has to be
Bain
something along the lines of obviously Tatum, Brown, even Danny Granger, Paul George. So basically, what you're asking for is like you have to have some intermediate, like some skill set, like elite defensive wings or whatever else it might be. You just don't think that they present enough advantages as individual players enough to offset the value of having one off ball, and basically you can collapse on the defense on said player on the offensive end, and they just don't provide any value.
Well,
basically
Swiper,
what happened in the playing game. Go ahead.
Swiper, that's where we get into that thing where we want these guys to everybody to do everything. That's where we get into those issues where we want these guys to be able to pass it, shoot it, drive it, deep, and do everything. We're not going to have perfect basketball players. You know what I'm saying? And it's very rare that you find that anywhere. On top of that, that's why I asked about the Desmond Bain situation. Desmond Bain came over there to help alleviate some of that. And the fact that Franz wasn't there most of the season, I think we haven't been able to see that very well. Also with Jalen Suggs, you need these guys to come and be that Derek White and Drew Holiday and Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard of this Orlando offense, and that's where, like I said, Desmond Bain when he's making shots, when Jalen Suggs is catching the ball, driving, initiating further offense, kicking it back to one of these guys, throwing the lob to the big fella Bertanze or Wendell Carter, whatever. That's when these two guys are complements on offense. When you have Franz over here, you got what's his name, Paolo over here. These guys complement each other when you have Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bain out there doing all the connective stuff, and especially Desmond Bain knocking down jump shots. That's when they complement each other. They have to complement each other with the other three guys on the court.
But and I think that goes to his point. That goes to his point about the redundancy, because if I'm going to compliment you, okay, you're the bucket getter, or I'm the bucket getter. You compliment me by being a rebounder or distributor, or you're a distributor, and that's where the redundancy comes in. Because
that's
when
okay. You can have two bucket getters.
You can have two bucket getters, but when one of them, it's not. But when one of them doesn't have it going, like what else are you doing? So like you don't have it going.
Defense,
do you get
rebounding?
Do you get up the ball? Is he rebounding though? Because he should be a double-digit rebounder. He's not rebounding as much as he should. That's number one. Number two, in terms of a transition player, as good as Franz is, like, why isn't Paolo complimenting him on that as being a distributor? Because I think Paolo is a good distributor. So this is what
Paolo made a great pass the other day.
I don't need you.
Paolo's a really good passer.
I do think he's a good
threw
passer.
An underhanded alley-oop over Jalen.
Remember last year we were talking about him overpassing. We were talking about Paolo passing the ball too much.
The point that I'm making is that these other three guys, they complement the rest of the group. We talking about these two dudes complimenting each other. Scottie Pippen complimented Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant complimented Shaq.
This ain't the same situation.
They're wings. These two
don't have to compliment each other.
Wings did that. What wings?
They don't have to compliment
Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown.
Yeah, that's not Shaq and you said Shaq and Kobe though. Like wings don't. That's not how wings compliment each other. Wings.
Okay, so
even with Tatum and Brown, there's been criticism for years about how they play together.
We're talking about wings.
Yes, and that's why Derek White and Drew Holiday, Al Horford, and those guys they made it work together. Franz and Paolo don't have to compliment each other. That's Jalen Suggs and Desmond Bain's job.
explain why their offense.
Ox, so you say that like we're expecting these guys to be perfect players, and that's not it. I'm asking them to not have the same major flaw, essentially, which is just the major jump shooting issues, right? Because it is different when you have a Jason Tatum who can play off of Jaylen Brown, and when he's working out of the mid range and he's getting downhill, Tatum's a 40% catch and shoot guy from three, right? He's an actual valuable player in that spot. Franz and Paolo are both liabilities when they're off the ball. That's the problem. And then also, I don't think either one of them are good enough with the ball to lead to like good NBA offense. And I don't think we can ignore that they were 24th in offensive rating 2 years ago and 27th last year and 18th this year. And like they have consistently been
because the year before that they didn't have Desmond Bain, and then this is so
Desmond Bain is complimenting. Desmond Bain is a compliment to the unit. We're talking about these two dudes.
Yes,
we're talking about
because they are the unit. They're not
we're talking about
this isn't Scotty or Jordan.
We're talking about Jason Tatum. We're talking about two
Yeah,
guys
'cause they're not
complimenting
that
each
good.
other. That's what we're talking about. Ox.
Yes, they're not.
We're
They're
talking
not
about-
Shaq
we're
and
talking
Kobe. They're
about
not
the
Shaq.
other guys.
You can't just keep putting. You can't just keep putting names in place of other names. They're
We're
not the
talking about
same
two
style of
guys
player.
complimenting
You have
each other. That's what we're
yes,
doing.
I understand that, but there's not the same two guys. It's different. You can't just do that and talk about Shaquille O'Neal. Like
Okay,
this
so
is
take
this
Shaq
is
and Kobe
not the
out
same
right.
situation.
Okay, that
You
was-
can't do
that was
Michael
the
Jordan. It's Michael Jordan.
Okay,
Like,
so
this
two-
is
so-
this
so-
is
it's like
Right,
not
so we're
the
talking
same
about two guys
thing.
complimenting
These are-
each other.
right? There are wing duos that do complement each other. Kawhi
Yes,
PG, I get
absolutely.
they didn't win a title, but the offenses were amazing. Like they worked together. Brown and Tatum, as we talked about, this is a duo where they both have significant flaws and they happen to be some of the same flaws, and it makes them a really clunky fit. And I know maybe we don't want to get into the basketball, but like consistently over the years, they have been like a completely mediocre team when Paolo and Franz share the floor. And then they're good when Franz is on the floor without Paolo, because I think the construction of some of those lineups just make more sense.
Yeah, that was, but without those were games, especially the year before what you talked about. That was a team without Desmond Bain. That was a team.
Yeah, I think Bain is an important player in this series.
With rookie Anthony Black. You know what I'm saying? These aren't we can't go back 2 seasons and talk about those numbers with a different roster.
Okay, well, I think it's still relevant just because there's a trend. I mean, over the entire career of good with Franz on, Paolo off, mediocre with them on together, very bad with Paolo on, Franz off.
It was.
But okay,
in
it's not that relevant
it
to
was
what
KFC,
I'm saying.
It was KFC. You know what I'm saying? It's a different guy out there. You know what I mean?
Yep, I get that. But to get back to what Ron started yelling at you over, and then he got kicked off the stream because he was being an L host. Desmond Bain in this series.
Garbage. Trash.
I think obviously he's going to start making some more shots at some point. The fact that he's like 3 of 15 from deep, and I think he's gotten some decent looks, that will improve. And he is super important, right? Because he is the one guy you think, okay, if you do help off of him, like he actually can make you pay. But other than that, like I think Desmond Bain's driving, and he's an underrated driver, and he's an underrated playmaker. I think a lot of that stuff is going to be not necessarily eliminated, but significantly diminished against this Detroit defense. And that's just the challenge they pose. I mean, that's the challenge for Franz too. Like, I don't think you can just say, oh, Franz had a bad night, Bain had a bad night, they'll play better. It's like, maybe they'll play a little better, but they are walking into tough-ass matchups every single night in this series.
Right, I understand that.
And I think it's tough as well.
I agree with you. That was my the only reason I was saying that was because I feel the same way about Duncan Robinson and Dennis Jenkins and the and
Robinson. The thing is, it's like his offense is created for him, or he just needs a little bit of space. So it's like I think there are more opportunities kind of baked into a game for him. Dennis Jenkins, I was just highlighting as a key guy who I'm watching. I don't necessarily think he's just gonna play better, because I think him against this athletic perimeter defense from Orlando and a very physical defense, like that's a new challenge for him. This is his first time in the playoffs, so we don't know. He was really good down the stretch of the regular season. He struggled in these 2 games. We'll see if he can step up. I'm not saying that's a given. I'm saying that's an interesting thing to watch for Detroit throughout this series.
Absolutely.
Damian, what were you about to say?
No, I just think that Orlando put you in a bit of like a mental tug of war, because after game 1, you sit there and you think, man, Orlando could have like 3 of the 4 best players in this series after game 1. And it puts you in a little bit of a space where you're like, there's a world that exists where if this starts clicking, like this team matches up really well and they can get over the line. But the issue is like what Carson pointed out, is that two of their best players have a lot of the same issues. And I think that it's hard to complement when you're almost the same player and you're not making anyone else better. So Orlando just put you in this spot where you're like, they have so much talent on paper, but as a team, they just can never click offensively, which is honestly going to be their biggest hurdle against an elite defense at the end of the day.
And so, Damian, like just right quick, Logan, because I'm the one who kind of steered the conversation to this when I brought up the tiers of offense and defense. And my thing is, I may just be superficial. I am traditional in the fact that I do believe that defenses win championships.
They do.
The Pistons have that. They clearly have the defensive advantage. Magic are good on defense. Pistons have the advantage. But I just find it so hard to believe. And this was my problem with the Thunder 2 years ago, even a little bit last year. I'm running into that same problem with the Pistons. I find it hard to believe that an offense where we don't even have a second option, a third option, a fourth option, and a guy that, like, let's say Cade rolls his ankle or something. I find it hard to believe that they can get it done. And that's the only thing I'm down.
By the way, Ron.
Chill, I know. My thing is, so when I say I'm traditional as well on the offensive end, we are used to teams that are this good having a clear-cut number one option, a Cade Cunningham. Yep. Then you have that number two option. I'm going to just kind of run to the Lakers, a Lamar or Pau Gasol. Then you have a third guy who can get it done too, a Lamar Odom. Right. Like, we're used to teams having, and even like the Magic, they have a 1, 2, 3 guy. 3-punch.
That's where I would draw the line. Is like, Ron, I think you're making an excellent point as a criticism as to why Detroit can't win the title this year in maybe the second round or the conference finals. But I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to buy the Orlando Magic offense that was bottom 10 in the league all year. Like, this is where I'm going to have to draw the line and say, no, I think there's a difference for me here in terms of like, I'm not. Orlando's offense doesn't scare me. That's not keeping me up at night. I'm sleeping.
You're right, Ron. You're right in terms of winning it all, though, Ron. Like you're right in terms of winning.
I do agree with that.
This would be an unconventional team that wins it all if they were to.
I agree, and that's the reason that I honestly haven't thought Detroit can win the title all year. I'm just too worried about the half-court offense. I also do think, though, we are in this kind of interesting transitional era right now where, like, defense is really sort of riding a high, and like defense has made a big comeback and statement in the NBA over the last couple of years. And it's not just OKC, it's Detroit too, and it's San Antonio. And like the three best teams in the regular season were by far the three best defenses. And they were teams that imposed themselves athletically at this crazy high level, not just defensively, but in transition too, and on the offensive glass for Detroit and San Antonio, and just like creating this margin with their athleticism. OKC won the title last year being an average half-court offense in the playoffs, getting really down three-point shooting from their spot-up guys, inconsistency out of Chet and Dub. Even Shea didn't play up to his potential, and they won the title because they were creating these ridiculous margins in the turnover battle in transition. And I'm not saying anybody else can do that, but I am saying, like, it's nothing new for Detroit that their half-court offense doesn't look pretty. And it didn't keep them from winning 60 games. And some things change when you get into the playoffs, right? I think the game does slow down a little bit and defenses ratchet up a little bit. And so half-court offense does become a bit more important. But like all their crazy advantages don't just go away. And that's why I think this team can make it deeper than you would think maybe their offense can take them. I don't think they can win the title because I am really worried about that. But it's like Logan said, I mean, that's a very different bar from can you beat the Orlando Magic, this team that all year you've been significantly better than on both sides of the ball. Like, I'm not worried about that.
Ron, we're making this more than what it is. We could beat these. With what we're doing right now, we can beat these dudes. We might not be able to beat everybody. We can beat these dudes, though. We can beat them.
All right. I'm interested to see what Game 3 looks like. Like, to me, this is the most interesting series. To me.
Ooh.
So I'm interested to see what Game 3 looks like. Obviously, Orlando has stolen home court advantage, so we're gonna be in Florida for Game 3. And Game 4. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if Detroit can come in there. Hold on. So what are you guys' predictions? You guys are predicting that Detroit comes and takes both of those games in Orlando?
I don't have Orlando winning another game in the series, Ron. I don't have them winning another game.
I think they split the next two.
Yeah, probably go back to Detroit tied up 2-2.
I agree with Chill. I think Game 1, for me at least, came down to a lot of the fact that Detroit came out flat and slow because they had all that time off. And I think now that they've locked in, they had that good quarter, they've had a good game, they're in a good rhythm. I think I'm gonna take the Pistons to take both of them. But I think they're gonna be close games, nasty, grimy. I'd be kind of shocked if both of them went into triple digits.
I would take Detroit to win both, but I think close. And I wouldn't be shocked if Orlando got one, but
I would be.
I'll take Detroit. You'd be shocked if they got one? Really?
If Orlando got one more game, I ain't had them winning a game in this series. I had Detroit walking right by them in 4 games. I'd be surprised if they get another game in this series. I don't have them winning another game. I don't.
Yeah.
So what would be your reaction?
5.5.
Chill. What would be your reaction if we came back to Detroit down 3-1?
I'd be blown away. If Orlando took both these games in Orlando, that would blow my mind, because that would mean that it would be not only a total collapse on Detroit offensively, but on defense too. They didn't give you anything defensively. I would be blown away if that happened.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that's in here, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to become a member. But ultimately, we got 3 good games tonight. I can't wait to talk about these games and get everybody's predictions, especially for one game in particular. But speaking of those games, this is why you need to download Splash Sports, because you have an opportunity to put all the basketball that you listen to on the panel. All the basketball and stats that you get from Nerd Sesh when you follow them and watch their content. All the basketball that you consume on a daily basis, especially throughout the playoffs, you get to put all of that to the test on Splash Sports. Obviously, we know it's playoffs. Obviously, we know the stakes are high. Obviously, we know that this is winning time, and this is the opportunity for you to download Splash Sports, use code CHOICE, and not only get 100% deposit match up to $50, not only get 100% quick picks boost, but take advantage of the highest multipliers in all of DFS. What if I was to tell you that you can win up to 50 times what you put in on a 6-leg entry? And then what if I was to double down and tell you there's only one place in the industry you can get that? That's Splash Sports. Why go anywhere else and play when you're essentially just leaving money on the table? Join the winner's circle with us. Use code CHOICE. Get all the money that you can possibly get. Oh, and after that, use the picks that we're going to make right here, right now. We're not even going to play around. We have one game tonight that we're running to, and one game only. Hey, I appreciate the Knicks and the Hawks. Ha, that's good. I appreciate the Cavs and the Raptors, but I'm not wasting my time on Scotty Barnes. We are going straight to the Nuggets and the Wolves. Fellas, let's make 3 good picks for this game.
Go ahead, Swiper.
Dante threes, man.
Let's see here. Splash Sports.
Swiper, can I sell you on a list?
Go ahead and give your prognosis.
It's 2.5.
It's on you, Swiper.
In this game, I will take. Let's see here. Quick picks. Let's see. What is Jaden McDaniel's rebounds and points?
I just saw him. Where'd he go? There you go. Points and rebounds, 19.5.
Oh, this is the guy that said he has bad defenders in front of him.
He's going to have to bring us.
That's 19.5 is points and rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll take the more on that. That should be good.
Great pick, Swiper. Great pick. Chill. Is there any way you want to go? All right, Damian, you were saying Dante DiVincenzo?
It's 2.5. Damian.
Yeah, he's a psycho. He's gonna make 3 at least.
What's that line on Joker? I'm looking at the menu right now. What's that line on Joker? I love
the menu. Why'd you use that word?
Yeah, I love that menu because the 9.5 assists. Boy, I'm liking that. That looks really good. What them rebounds look like?
13.5.
13.5.
PRA.
I like them threes, honestly. I think Jokic gonna hit 2 threes.
He's actually really good on the road.
Right.
Hold on. Let Chill got it though.
Let's see here. You know what? That 42.5 points and rebounds. I'm gonna take them more on that.
Ooh,
yes, sir. I'm gonna take them more on that.
I mean, it's far from crazy.
I'm gonna take them more on that, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
All right. Yeah, we're actually wait. What's Ant's threes? He's a game time decision though, so we'll probably leave it alone. But I do just want to see what his threes are. No threes for Ant. All right. Well, this is what we're rocking with on Splash Sports today. If you like our picks, use our picks, make some money. We'll see you in the winner's circle. But ultimately, whether you use our picks or don't use our picks, use code CHOICE. You will get a 100% deposit match up to $50 and 100% quick picks boost. It doesn't get too much better than that, y'all. We will see you in the winner's circle, and we will see you right here on Splash Sports tomorrow. In the meantime, fellas, we have crunch time chats. People have sent through super chats based on what we were talking about. We will get around to the 6th Man of the Year award. We will get around to the clutch play of the year because we didn't really talk about that yesterday. Also, tomorrow, there's another award that will be given out as well. The most improved. We might get around to that today. But as of right now, we're going to do these super chats. Oh, and also, there was another game last night. I wouldn't say a snooze fest, but
it was not a snooze fest. Just so we clear,
they woke up late in the game, but it's like these OKC guys. But before we get around to OKC, Teddy Hart sent through $20 and said, for everyone crying about OKC's whistle, yes, the refs are bad league-wide. Please speak about how, if we erased all fouls and free throw points, both teams, OKC still comfortably outscores opponents. Refs are not, I repeat, refs are not why we win. Find a new excuse.
You know, it's interesting that in the playoffs, you know, we have this tendency to talk about officiating when these officials in the playoffs, I'm not even talking about throughout the course of the regular season, just in the playoffs alone, they get 98.9% of their calls right. That's why they reffing in the playoffs.
They're the best.
Like these are the best of the best guys.
That's not a good indication of performance. I've talked about this multiple times.
Absolutely a great
because Scott Foster, one of the reasons he continues to get jobs in the playoffs is because I've said this multiple times. I guarantee you, he has some of the best numbers regular season tracking in terms of the calls that he calls, like the odds that he's right and wrong.
Sure.
But it's not about that. Scott Foster has repeatedly lost control of games. Multiple times. He allows for momentum to be swung due to physicality and due to the way he calls game versus certain teams or certain players. This has been going on for 20 years with Scott Foster. So that's why, like, those numbers for me for officiating have never
one guy though, Swiper. That's
no,
one
because
guy.
It's not just him. It's Mark Davis. Mark Davis is the same way. Scott Foster is the same way. Tony's the same way. They're all
thinking about his name. I think I forgot his name. They call him Gucci. He looks like the rapper Gucci.
Yeah, that's Williams. That's
right.
Williams.
So he wasn't reffing that game. He was reffing the Oklahoma City. I'm talking about the Detroit. I'm talking about the Detroit coach. When they called that flagrant on Wendell Carter. Now, that might be just a hard playoff foul, but the reason why you call that flagrant, Swiper, is because I want to keep control of my game. Because if I don't call that a flagrant, then the next trip when somebody else gets fouled like that, then it turns into something else, and now I'm losing control of my game.
That's not what I'm talking
about.
Is that why they caught that tech on Jaylen Brown? Because they were afraid they would lose control of the game?
When did Jaylen Brown get a tech?
That was stupid.
That when he dunked.
It's not so much the volume of calls though. It's
that part I got a problem with, Ox, with the because it's taunting, right? That part I got a problem with. But when we're talking about the physicality, like talking to somebody, I don't think that's a big deal because more times than not, guys don't lose it over guys talking to them. No, that doesn't happen. But I tell you one thing, Ox, if I hit you hard and I knock you to the ground more than once, you're gonna start saying to the official, "Hey, you better clean this up because this is gonna turn into something." And that's the last thing that I want. That's why he called that a flagrant foul.
Chill, but that was Teddy Hart who sent that super chat, right? Teddy Hart, when you take out free throws and all the foul with all that, when you do that and you say, okay, we still win the game, that doesn't take into the account of what they're allowing Lou Dort to get away with. That doesn't take into the account of all the stuff that's going on when Lou Dort's grabbing you, coming around screens, when he's pushing you, coming through the lane. That doesn't take into account any of that.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and
I don't think that's a realistic way to look at it at all. You can't just take away free throws. But, like, I think a couple things. First of all, last year, OKC was dead last in the NBA in free throw differential. They were bottom 3 in free throws attempted. They were bottom 3 in terms of they put their opponents on the line a ton, and they still won 68 games, and they won the title. This year, I think they've been more average in terms of free throw differential. But I just think it's, like, such a symptom of people being bored by like, oh yeah, OKC's won the first 2 games against Phoenix by 50. Well, we got to talk about something from this series. Let's hate on the Thunder. I just find it weird because it's like, don't we all love defense? Don't we all want defense? Don't we all want physicality? And I get it if some people feel like there's a difference between the physicality that OKC is allowed and Shea getting what some people perceive to be a soft whistle. But like, I do think they're very different. Like, OKC does an unbelievable job of not fouling dudes when they are in an upward shooting motion, of not fouling dudes when they are in their gather. Like, they are physical with you off the ball, on the perimeter, hand checking, like jostling for position in the post, right? All of the sort of physicality that refs are not inclined to call. And then when it comes to, all right, keep your hands clean, right? Don't get caught fouling a shooter. They're really good at doing that. And Shea does legitimately get fouled a ton. Like, you can say some of these are ticky-tack, some of the contact on drives, but like, he is going to catch you with your hand in the cookie jar a ton. And he's going to catch you out of position a ton because he's the toughest player to guard. He's the toughest player to stay in front of in the league. That means he's going to catch you out of position all the time. And he's super crafty. And so I just think, I mean, we can talk about officiating. It's obviously not perfect. But when people try to make it about, oh, the Thunder, or this is the thing behind the Thunder, it's like,
Who
I
said
just think
that?
that's ridiculous.
That's not what Devin Booker's complaint was.
What was his complaint?
No, I'm not saying Devin Booker. I'm
Devin
saying
Booker's
people on
direct
the internet.
complaint is how OKC is allowed to defend them, and then retrospectively, they are also then not allowed to defend OKC in the same manner. And then he was complaining about the technical, and he said that throughout the game, that's the way things went. And so then that can be the Chet Holmgren foul on the quote-unquote offensive foul that happened, the Chet Holmgren foul on the pump fake jump into Colin Gillespie, who's I think is 6'1". It's not just like the direct play calls that are resulting. I think what players and coaches can remember, JB Bickerstaff did this last year with them. And then this year, Chris Finch did that this year with them. It is the idea that OKC, in your estimation, is allowed to play this extremely physical style of defense. Well, don't you like defense? The counterpoint to that is, yes, I think people do like defense. If we could guard OKC with the same level of ferocity, then I think their argument, that's what I'm saying, the players and coaches' argument is, then that would be perfectly fine. They do not feel that that is what is happening. That is an equal exchange between the two.
But I don't think those teams are nearly as good at striking the balance of physicality, but doing it at the right times where you're not going to get called for it. Like Phoenix, do you see them getting called for a ton of hand checking fouls, off ball fouls? It's like, no, they get called for fouls when they foul shooters. And OKC is phenomenal at not doing that. Devin Booker has gotten to the line 20 times in these 2 games. And it's because he is getting
It's
fouled.
not just about Devin Booker, though.
Yeah.
And I think, Carson, this is where the linchpin sometimes of the point of the argument starts to get around other things that people are not addressed. Devin Booker does get to the free throw line, and they are fouling him. That's really not even the argument. The argument is the way that OKC is allowed to defend. And then this is just me bringing my own perspective based on what I'm hearing. So, like, this could be wrong. This is not definitive. The way OKC is getting complained about by staff, front offices when they send tape in, coaches when they send tape in, and players, it seems to be more that they are simply being so disruptive with things like hand checking and physicality, especially on screens and off ball, that they quite simply cannot do the OKC in the way that OKC runs their offense. They don't have the ability to play with the same level of physicality to disrupt OKC's offense. And more importantly, and this is probably where the rub comes in, Shea is phenomenal at getting by you. And he's obviously the most difficult in front of my body cover in the league. Like POA, it's extremely difficult to keep him in front. And I think some of this is a mix of Shea's so good at it that it's hard to do it and get away with it, which is what Andrew Nembhard did in the NBA Finals last year. He did a great job of staying in front and not allowing Shea to get to those spots. But I think on the other side of this, bro, if you watch the way OKC defends bigs, wings, and guards, they are allowed a certain level of, like, I think in my estimation, physicality that other teams aren't allowed to get away with.
Did Detroit and Minnesota not defend the same way? Like, I'm looking at those teams and I'm like, they beat the shit out of you too. They're crazy physical too. That's how great defenses play in the NBA right now.
And a lot of that stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Lou Dort can be a little bit much, but
Swipe it. Is it not? Is Minnesota not as physical guarding Jokic in Murray?
No, not in this matchup. No.
Wow.
No, because
He gets
remember
roughed up.
they're guarding again,
Rude
Carson. You got to
roughs him
remember and I've said this, by the way. This is
Especially
not
when he
new.
gets doubled.
Everybody knows that I've said this before. Big on big defense is not the same. It is like there's nowhere near the same. You can be physicality in those matchups, but when you're guard on big, it is not even close to the same amount of physicality that you're allowed.
They allow more for sure, but it's like
That's
Julius Randle is still pushing and doing everything he can using his hands. Like it's like that's playoff basketball, especially out of the post. I mean, out of the post, they're going to allow crazy physicality because also, I mean, not to make this about the Jokic example, but like he's allowed to unleash a ton of physicality because he's a massive human being who's playing in the most physical area on the floor. I just think, again, people focus on OKC, but I'm like, there's tons of mutual physicality in these games, and the best defenses in the league are super physical.
That's just the way it is, Swiper. I mean, whenever
I disagree with this because I think we're having a conversation about OKC that has been had at several levels by several different people.
Defenses have not been super physical like that. Have won the
no,
NBA
it's degrees of physicality.
Okay,
that's what I'm talking about.
What Swiper is saying is that, and Iman Shumpert made this point, OKC plays with such a defensive intensity that they're putting officials in a position where you can't call everything. Because if you do, they're gonna be in the bonus in like 2 minutes. And what Swiper is saying is that other teams aren't giving. The argument is they aren't getting that same luxury. Maybe because they don't have the personnel, which is a fair argument too, versus OKC to essentially deploy that same level of physicality and intensity. It's constant. Like when a lot of people are saying it around the league, there's it's not a one-off thing. Like this has been a conversation for a while. So I think there's some truth there, but. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I think there's a lot of.
Is it the timing of the calls? Because, like to Carson's point, I mean, Devin Booker gets to the stripe. Jalen Green got to the stripe.
I've already said it. Remember, I've already said it's not about the stripe.
Joker got to the stripe against Oklahoma City. Like these guys get to the stripe.
Yeah, it's not a. Go ahead, brother. You've been waiting.
I think like Damien's saying too, I think he's making a good point. I do think it's in the middle somewhere where some of these teams don't have the defensive personnel to actually match what a Minnesota or Detroit or OKC does, and they're conflating it with not getting the same leniency of the whistle. And to what I would say is just match, if you're bitching about it and you're mad about it, match OKC's physicality. And like you're saying, force the ref's hand. I don't know. I love the physicality of playoff basketball. I like that the refs let these guys play a little more. And, I just think OKC has some of the most hellish and best defensive personnel to unleash. And I also think part of this, kind of like Carson is saying, is a bit of a skill too. Like playing physically without fouling, that's a skill. And OKC is really elite at it as well. So I don't know. I also just enjoy watching OKC play. So maybe I've got like the rose-tinted goggles for OKC, but I think they strike the balance really well.
Mars, do you think that this stuff, really quickly, Mars, do you think that this stuff is illegal? Is more of it illegal than it is marginal?
I'm on the side of defensive reputations allow you to get away with more.
I can get with that.
I've said it on the individual scale. So, for example, let's say Patrick Beverley's guarding in isolation, and then maybe not Steph Curry because he's a superstar, you might give him the benefit of the doubt, but a bad defender is also guarding in isolation. They do the same thing. Pat Bev isn't getting called for a foul, but the bad defender is getting called for a foul simply because one has a defensive reputation and the other one doesn't.
Sure.
I think OKC in some regards benefit from that, whereas like if it's 50-50, let's give the benefit of the doubt to Cason Wallace or Ludor or Caruso because they're elite defenders, whereas another team tries and it's like, well, yeah, you're not as good on defense. We're just not going to give you that benefit of the doubt. So I do think there's part of it is that. I think part of it is OKC just do a better job of getting away with the contact that the league doesn't seem as impactful. Like a lot of it, to what Carson said about before the shot goes up, the league isn't going to call that all the time. Whereas like once you get into your gather and whatnot, then you're swiping down and you're hitting arms. And then you're like, well, they're doing it to us. Like, no, they're hitting your arm when you're driving. You're hitting their arm when they gather. It's like, it is different. Although I think they're all fouls. Like, I'm not saying that OKC don't get away with fouls. It's just, to Damien's point, like, you're not going to call 7 fouls in 2 minutes. You're just not. Yeah. So you kind of are playing a fine line. Like, there's going to be some games where OKC are in a lot of foul trouble because they decide to call things early, and then there's going to be games where they let a lot of things go. I probably think because OKC blow everyone out, people are looking for something to complain about. But I do think there is like validity to it in some regards, but I don't think it's why they win. But the ref thing about the 99% of calls are correct. Does that account for the times they don't call anything? Because there's not a call to be made. So how? So 99% of calls are correct, but then no calls aren't calls. You haven't called anything.
It can't.
So all that means is every time I blow the whistle, I'm right 99% of the time. But then if I don't blow my whistle, am I right? No, maybe I should have blown the whistle. So I feel like there's a lot of things that get missed in that.
Or when you do blow your whistle, you're wrong. So the times when
1% of the time. That's what you said.
The times when I don't blow the whistle, I probably shouldn't have blown the whistle. I didn't blow the whistle, and I was right not to blow the whistle there. But then there's times when I did blow the whistle, and I was wrong. I should have let that go. Even if there was contact, that was marginal contact. So if I end up, to your point, Mars, a guy's coming down the lane, he's getting hit on his arm. That contact is marginal. It's not really throwing him off balance. It's not affecting his shot. And I end up calling a foul. I probably shouldn't have called that. But then he comes down the lane, and the exact same thing happens, and I don't call it, and it looks different. And I don't call it, well, that's a foul. Well, no, it wasn't. That's not what it went. And I think that's what dictates what a good ref is. Refereeing the defense, knowing when to blow the whistle, and to keep control of your game. But to answer your question, to your point about being right 99% of the time, when I'm blowing the whistle, I'm refereeing the defense. When I don't make a call and I pass on this, even if it is marginal contact, that is the correct decision too. That's like blowing the whistle and calling the foul when I'm right.
Yeah, but I think that's the issue is inconsistency. That's my issue is inconsistency. I personally like that style of defense. I like what Detroit, Orlando, OKC. I like physical defense. I think when people are driving, I think you should be able to put your hands on them a little bit. I think you should be able.
You do. You got to play through contact. Yes,
I think you should be able to bump a little bit. Now, when the shot's going up, to your point, Carson, when the shot's going up, you obviously know you can't push people when they're jumping. You can't hit arms, slap elbows, all that type of stuff. That's just a flat-out foul. But I like how Alex Caruso, Casey Wallace, and Lou Dort play defense. I'm a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? I think more people should play defense like that. Physical, intense. Like I brought up with a sword time. Like y'all know how I feel. If you in the game with one foul, you wasn't guarding nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to hit somebody. For me, I like physical defense. So while the issue I have with it is the inconsistency. That's my biggest problem, and really that's kind of my only problem. So when I see Lou Dort do something that this other guy isn't allowed to do, I think that's wrong. I just think I think all the refs need to get on one page, and we need to clarify what is a foul. You know what I'm saying? What is and what is not. That's my only issue with NBA ref.
I think that it is.
Yeah, just right quick, chill, because I wanna interject this into the conversation. Big Ox brought up physical defenders. He brought up the fact that he likes physical defenders and all of that. Well, there is another guy in this series who's might be the most physical person in the series, but he doesn't play for OKC. And this is actually what he had to say specifically about the refs. This is what he had to say specifically about the. There we go. All right, we're here.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
That was a struggle. All right, but we got it. All right, you guys, let me know if you can hear Dylan Brooks.
We're guarding Shea for at least the first 3 quarters of the game, and you got in foul trouble there. Just, what is it like having to guard somebody like that, and how do you, I guess you could say, have to defend better without fouling?
A little frail. And that's what the refs are going to call. You got to be smarter about it, but. This is playoffs, a man's game. Like, I used to watch this back when Michael Jordan was playing or whoever else when LeBron was younger. Like, it's just physical basketball. Like, I don't get why all the dropping, the flawing, and the flopping, and the flailing, and all this stuff is allowed to get to the playoffs. Like, leave that for the season, like, for the fans. This is about who's the better team, who's a more witted team. Like, don't decide the games on no free throws. Like, maybe I gotta look back at it and see if they're really fouls. But all I know is when I be watching, when I was out in the playoffs, or I've been in the playoffs, or I'd be watching from before I was in the NBA, it's straight physical. It's straight low scoring, physical basketball, and you got to score the basketball to win or get stops to win. Not this failing and going to the line and stoppage of play. Like, got to fix that.
What explanation do you get from the officials when you have that conversation with them?
I can't. I you gotta ask somebody else because I get too rowdy, and all they want to do is, oh, that's legal. I never saw, or this or that. It's just a bunch of excuses. That's why y'all should be interviewing them. To be honest, that's what Adam Silver. Let's get some interviews for the chief.
Interview the refs after the game.
Can I
Chill.
give
I've
you
been
guys
saying that
two
for a
numbers
minute.
in this
Been saying
series
that
real
for a
quick?
minute, Chill. I'm
Interview
listening.
the
The refs.
The Suns are losing the turnover battle 16-38, and they're losing the points off turnover battle 54-11. So I'm sorry, spare me, Dylan, if I don't really think the free throw differential is the why you guys are getting spanked in this series. Like, that's the one pushback I'd have for the free throw
I
talk,
don't think
man.
that's not the point, Logan. The point is that
He
we
just said why they lost. That's not why y'all are getting.
That's,
I think
that, the
Dylan
point.
Brooks
That's not
thinks
no. The
that's
point.
the
The point. The point. See, this is a big thing. When Dylan Brooks talks, people shut their ears and don't want to hear what Dylan Brooks has to say because it's Dylan Brooks. You guys are for the most part, nobody's going to be on the side of Dylan Brooks. But the fact of the matter is, we need to do something with this bullshit flopping. Dudes aren't
It's
even
a
trying.
bullshit narrative,
They're not. It's not
It's
a
a
narrative.
bullshit
If you're
narrative.
watching a basketball game, Logan, you see it. Don't act like you don't see it. You see dudes coming around the corner. As soon as they get touched, they
I mean, I watched.
What is
I
that
watched
bullshit? You
Owen
can't like that's.
Gillespie-
You're
I
not.
watched
They're not
Owen
even.
Gillespie, like,
You're not even
slide 8
trying.
feet
You're not even
backwards
trying
to
to
hit him
score
with
the
a chicken
basketball at that
wing.
point. When you jump in the air
That's
and
NBA.
there's no reason, absolutely no reason. Everybody up here has shot a basketball. There's no reason for you to shoot the basketball.
I agree.
And do this
I
shit.
agree.
There's no reason for that. That's the only thing I'm pushing back on, Logan. No, to your point, Logan, take care of the basketball. The turnovers, that's that. You know what I'm saying? I believe OKC's gonna beat Phoenix regardless. But it's still bad for the game, and we need to stop
Smoking
this
y'all,
bullshit flopping.
Smoking
It's crazy. Logan, it's bad for the game, and we have to do something away. And I want everybody to be clear about this. This isn't just a 2026 thing. When Kobe Bryant did it, I had a problem with it. When Dwayne Wade did it, I had a problem with it. When Manu Ginobili did it, I had a problem with it. When Vlade Divac did it, I had a huge problem with it. I hate it when you're on defense or offense. If like it's like when somebody gets hit and all of a sudden they're on the ground. Like, what are you down there for? Like, there's no reason for you to be on the floor right now. And I have a problem with that. Defense and offense. I don't care who you are, it has to stop.
Swiper,
Yeah,
if I'm not
agree. It's
mistaken,
trifling.
Swiper, you can straighten me out with this. Is flopping not against the rules? Like, you get fined for doing that. Is that
They
not a
did.
fact?
Well, it was 3 years ago. They put that rule in place. They got rid of it for
What's
3
going on?
months, and they brought it back. And then they said, "There's no way." I don't know if there was an internal conversation. They absolutely 3 years ago put the rule in place,
That was a rule.
and
You
then
can't do that.
they extended it. And then ever since that point, they stopped calling it consistently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they called it once a game for everybody, including Jokic. When he does that, when he gets frustrated, including everybody, it wouldn't be in the league. It doesn't exist in FIFA to this level. And there's a reason why it doesn't exist in FIFA, because if you do it, you get penalized points. And I'm not calling that. So yeah, 100%. If you did it to everybody from Jokic, Shea, JT, JB, whoever, and when he does it at times, just cut it out. Like, if you do this, Tech, it's over. Literally, just do it for 3 months. You're not doing it anymore. I personally think Ox knows I am 1,186 cents on his side. Cut it out of basketball. Period.
Yeah.
Go play the sport. I'm 100% with Ox. Cross
I
the
agree
board.
totally.
If you're not
Can
even
I play
trying to
devil's advocate with
score,
that?
you're just flailing around. Like, it's crazy. There's no reason for your head to go backwards like this when
But
somebody
Ox-
puts their hand on your hip.
Okay, I agree when it comes to like unnatural shooting motions, that stuff. The thing is, if you get fouled and you don't show the ref the contact,
Yes, agree.
they won't call it a
Shaq
lot.
and-
Like, I literally
Well,
watched,
go score.
I
Then
watched-
go score the
I watched
basketball.
De'Aaron Fox look at. I'm talking about both sides of the ball. It was an interesting moment the other game. De'Aaron Fox literally looked at the ref and they caught him on camera and he was just like, "Do you want me to fall? Because I'll
Right.
fall." It's like
Right.
if you get fouled and you just fight through, you're probably not going to get that call. So it's like, yeah, we can say, oh, that's the ideal physical basketball. But if you're a team and you feel like, shit, we're getting hacked and we're not getting any calls, like, what do? You fall. You fight to get around an illegal screen and a guy sticks his leg out. What do? You fall because you have to show the ref that there was a foul. And I'm not saying that that's ideal aesthetically for sure. And I'm not saying that that excuses flopping, but like there is a reason that players do it. And
because
that's not what you do. That's not what you do. If you go around and somebody tries to hip check you, you know what you do? You go around him and go dunk the basketball. If you're going up and somebody's coming at you and you get hit and they don't call a foul, you know what you do next time, Carson? You put your shoulder in their chest and you go up through the contact and let them know, like, okay, if you're not going to call the foul, but this how we playing today. Like you can't, if you go up, right, and you get touched and you just and throw the ball up, you're not even trying to score the basketball anymore. Now, Carson, I understand the hip bone's connected to the spine bone, the spine bone's connected to the shoulder bone's connected to the head bone. I understand all that, but just if I touch your hip, that doesn't mean my head is ref. Like, but we're not even playing basketball no more.
Yeah, I agree with that on a league-wide thing. I just think that's not an OKC thing. Like, I'm watching Book kick his leg out. I'm watching Book do the unnatural swing up with his elbow, which they did call an offensive foul. Like, it's an NBA thing for sure, and it's not good. But, I mean, I do think, like, there's a difference between, like, I hate what Chet did. I fucking hate any sort of, like, I hate the pump fake and jump into the defender, especially if a guy does a pretty good job of stopping his momentum and they still get that call. Like, that sucks. For sure, there's just some flailing and ripping through that like is bullshit, and refs still give guys that call. I think they're doing a better job of calling it on the floor, but like they can't always do that. But I do think there's a reality of like physicality in certain phases of the game that I like, but it's again, you may get fouled, and if you don't fall, if you don't exaggerate the contact, you're not going to get the call.
Kawhi don't flop.
But Ox, I think there are two different arguments as well. Like there's the I'm getting hit and I'm going to show the refs that I'm getting hit because my intention is to get to the free throw line. But then there's also like, hey, I'm getting hit on every play and you're not calling shit. So that's where I think the exaggeration comes from. Like Shaq was the best example of like, he used to get hit on nearly every play, man. And like, it was like and LeBron was the same, like in his prime. Like there's certain guys where they're also tough to guard, but they're still getting hit on nearly every possession. So I agree. I think the ones that and Trae Young was one of those guys where they implemented the rule to stop it, but that seems to be going away. Like that jump into the defender, the Chet one, that's not supposed to be legal anymore. That's not supposed to get you free throws, but they're calling that now.
I thought that was out of the game, Damien. I thought
that's supposed to be out of the game. Yeah, that's supposed to. Yeah,
I thought that was out of the game.
Not only that one, Damien, but the one where the guard comes around, sticks in front, and they're like stop and like jump back into him.
That's just the worst.
Yeah, I believe they're supposed to take all
Brunson's still doing that all the time. And it's like, that was literally supposed to be gone in like 2021. So for sure on all of that. But I mean, I also think like the tricky thing is I think offensive players get a very favorable whistle right now in terms of the physicality they're allowed to initiate. And that might be more of a problem. I don't know, as much of a problem as some of the foul grifting stuff when defensive players aren't allowed to reciprocate. But I think that's much more of a regular season issue. In the playoffs, I think physicality is rewarded on both sides of the ball. And it's like Damien said, like you can't call everything. So you put the burden on the refs to decide what they're going to call, and you set the tone for a game that way. And I think that's great. I think physical playoff basketball is awesome. And it's like, yeah, LeBron and Shaq and Giannis and all these guys get fouled a ton, and they also fucking go through you. I mean, Giannis commits a ton of offensive fouls that don't get called because he's physical and he's rewarded for his physicality.
Which leads me to Ron, to this guy, Smiley, 23. He's got a super chat, which I to be honest with you, I do tend to agree with it. I do think that it's a little. We do this every year when we get to
this one right here.
Yes, because I think he's right. At the end of every year, like
hold on, chill. But before you answer it, would you like to read it? You want me to read it?
So it says, so frustrating to see a false narrative like this. The Thunder don't just get away with everything. They're about averaging fouls against them. Love how Brooks' shenanigans are culture, but Dort is dirty. Dort is dirty. Let's be clear about that. Yes, Dort is 100% dirty. We're not gonna leave that out. But also, I don't know anybody who said that what Brooks is doing is culture. But with that being said, we do this every year, Swiper. Like, let's take Oklahoma City off the table. In years past, what is the thing that we complain about in the playoffs? Officials. We've been doing this every year that officials, whether it's Milwaukee with Drew Holiday, whether it's Boston with Marcus Smart with his flailing and flopping, whether
Warriors
it's
moving screens.
we do
when
this
you're
every
great,
year.
People bitch.
We do
Kevin Durant
exactly.
standing out of bounds.
Absolutely, we do this every year. Right? This isn't something that
Draymond Green running into James Harden, no call when they absolutely got away with murder in those series versus the Houston
We don't
Rockets.
need to bring those series back.
Draymond hasn't been set a
if
day
that
in his
whistle
life.
would have been fair, this is why Rockets fans, this era Rockets fans, obviously this team sucks. If the Rockets got a good whistle in those series, they would have went to the NBA final. This is why this stuff matters. That year, in that Game 7 series, if they got an equal whistle to the Warriors, Chill, this is why that nonsense about 98% and Scott Foster, if they did their jobs in that series, the Rockets would have been in the NBA finals that year. They got hoed every single game in that series. And a part of it is, reputation. Because Mars is like, Draymond sets 12,000 screens a game. So I can't call him doing this all game to step in front of Trevor Ariza and all them, because that way he's fouling out in the first quarter. So I can't do that.
But isn't that just a reciprocal response to Steph getting held more than any other player? Like, you don't think that's reasonable to say that Steph is getting
call those two?
Well, yes,
you can't hold on to my Draymond.
Yes,
you can't grab me around the screen. You can't grab me around the screen. If he steps out of bounds, and Scott Foster, the extender, every single time the Rockets got momentum in that Game 7, he called a foul. They were getting hit on every one of their threes. And all of a sudden, this isn't even energy for y'all. In that Game 7, they got fouled on no less than 10 jumpers. 0 calls. So all of a sudden, the referees at that point in time were like, we don't want to dictate the game, even though the Rockets are clearly at the disadvantage on open shots coming around screens, and then they can't defend on the other end. So then when people talk about James Harden, he's a playoff dropper, it's like, well, damn, I sure saw Harden and Trevor Ariza and all these other players getting fouled all the time. So what I'm saying is that, you know what? Steph got a bad whistle. LeBron's got a bad whistle. I think Jokic has gotten a bad whistle. And Jokic didn't used to flail like this. Because if you remember years ago, Jokic did not used to do this. But then eventually he was like, well, the only way this is going to work if I start doing this stuff oxates. And I hate it. So I'm with you.
He flops on rebounds, Swiper. He flops on rebounds.
I'm 100% on your side, Ox. You are not going to get me off that train. I agree with you. Take it out of basketball. But that's my whole point, Carson.
There's a jungle down there.
I want to ask Carson and Logan. I want to ask y'all a question because I've already asked these fellas this question before. Maybe not you, Damian. I don't think I talked about it with you up here. And I'm not sure if this is what Dylan Brooks was talking about. I know he said Adam Silver, but what do y'all feel about just how we do press conferences and post-game interviews with the players? What do y'all feel about press conferences and post-game interviews with the refs? I think we have to start asking refs questions after games. What do y'all think about that?
They're not supposed to be involved in the game. That's the
They are supposed to be involved in the game, Chill. They're
not.
Yes, they are. The refs are the only people in the game that don't sit down.
One of you guys brought a ticket to come see me. You came to see the action.
Ain't sit down.
You never came to see me.
Nobody pays to see the coaches either.
Nobody actually they do. Yes.
Who?
They pay to see. They pay to see the team.
I ain't never seen anybody like, I can't wait to go see JJ Redick do his thing on the sideline.
Right.
I still, regardless of how much we think they shouldn't be a part of the game, Chill, they absolutely should be a part of the game. They should be a part of the game, and we need them to be a part of the game. They have to. Like they're everybody. They run for 48 minutes straight. They don't get subbed in and out. They're a part of the game whether we want them to be or not. And I think we have to start interviewing the refs after the game. Hey, ref, you make this call over there. What did you see there? Holla at me.
I am pro accountability. For a long time, my argument was that we needed to fine the refs for bad calls, but that's not really feasible. My solution for a long time, I think we need actual basketball players to be referees, because I don't think these referees that have never played ball a day in their life, hoopers are going to know what they're seeing and playing against. I agree with you, Ox. I think that would rock. Like being, hey, ref, I thought you blew that call right there. What did you see? I would like explanations too at some point. So I'm with you.
It's so hard. I mean, it's such a thankless job. That's where, like, Ox, sometimes refs fuck up the game. Sometimes they fumble the game, and it's like we can say we don't want them involved, but they affect the outcome. But then it's like, what is the system of accountability that is fair and reasonable when these guys are trying to monitor so many different things on every single play? And like, whatever, we can bicker with the 99% number. I don't think they're that good, but it's an incredibly difficult job. And I don't know, when you start putting guys even more under a microscope, it's like, do they have to answer for every call? It's like, isn't that why we have the last 2-minute report? So we can go through and the league can officially say, okay, this was right, this was wrong in this pivotal moment. That to me feels like a good enough option where it's not like refs are constantly being given with this sort of like public pressure. Yeah, because they already get so much hate, and it's like, man, like there are certain refs I don't like, but
how difficult it is to be an official.
And they never get any credit. If you get a tough call right, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. Like, yeah, that was a foul. Like, yeah, that was a foul. Oh yeah, that guy was out of bounds. And sometimes I'm like, how the fuck did the ref see that in real time? But we don't care. Right. We only care when they get stuff wrong.
That's a good point, because sometimes it's hard to see. And you're like, well, how did you even see that? It's crazy. I think it's really hard to ref. And I've tried to ref before. I'm terrible at it. I think it's a really hard. It's a really hard job. I think refs are similar to cops. You know what I'm saying? It's like, obviously not to that extent, but they just, you know what I'm saying? It's like kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't like you, but if you get mugged, who you gonna call? You know what I'm saying? It's like the refs. It's like, you know what we should do? We should have a week. We should have a week of no refs, right? And everybody call their own foul, but you get 3. You only get 3. Call your own foul, but you only get 3.
I mean, I think that's how replacement refs went for the NFL.
For me, it's like Carson brought up the 2-minute report. I think they got to scrap that, because it doesn't change the outcome, just makes everyone mad. We can't go retrospect and change calls. I think that's got to go. Secondly, I don't think that the referees on the floor should be the ones determining foul calls that are challenged. I think that should be an objective thing in the back office. Thirdly, I think that there would be a benefit as well. I think, just because of the speed of play, to potentially add another ref on the floor, because sometimes guys are getting fouled and the refs can't keep up with the play enough to see the correct angle. So if we had 4 refs all doing their sort of 2 on one side, 2 on that side, and you have like a quadrant that you take care of, I think a lot of stuff that gets missed might not get missed. So I think there are a few sort of tweaks that I would make. I am very much for, Logan, a referee debrief. I don't think of like a formal like interview with like press and like media to like discuss every call, but I'm very much for like, let's get some sort of debrief, especially in these very high leverage games, because accountability matters more than ever in them. I think
do they do that in any other sport? Do they do that in soccer? Do they do that in football? Do they do that in tennis? They don't do that anywhere else. Nowhere. So why are we doing it here?
Right. We need to set the standard. That's why.
I mean, you're never going to interview a ref after a good game.
Okay, even a bad game. Period. Like, why aren't we refereeing?
Imagine if you only interviewed NBA players after they stink out.
That'll make them happy.
I just think that it's interesting. Like Ox brought up the.
They did interview a ref after a game one time in football. I remember I seen it. I don't know what the response was.
They have done it before.
Yeah, he made like a contentious decision. They asked him what he thought, what he saw, and whatnot. Once again, it was a long time ago, maybe in the 90s or the 2000s, but I definitely do remember seeing that. So it's been tried, but I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. But
I don't either.
I've seen it happen.
Chill. I know you refed a lot. I do just want to say this as somebody. I don't know you guys' background. I know Chill is refed. I've refed a ton. So in college, I was a college basketball player. I was an athlete. I was on scholarship. But as you know, like 10, 12 years ago, there was no NIL. So I was a broke college kid. How I made my money was I would literally ref from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I would ref. There were days I'd ref 12 games. There's days I'd ref 7 games, 8 games, whatever the case would be. However many I could get. I refed a lot. And I ref kids. That is, and you know, I used to always think that pros was the hardest thing to ref because the stakes are higher and all of that. It is, in fact, and I was just talking to a ref about this the other week. He brought it to my attention. It's actually harder to ref kids because not only do you have to ref these kids who aren't as savvy and aren't as good as the professionals or college athletes, but then you have to deal with the coaches. But the worst part about it is you got to deal with the pressure of the parents. So it's 3 different aspects. what I want to let you guys know is, regardless of how good of a ref you are, regardless of what level you're at, refs are going to make mistakes. We gotta, unless we're gonna put robots out there, and which as fans, we'll probably debate the robots too. But the refs are going to make mistakes. It's just a human part of the game. And on top of that, basketball, aside from the fact that basketball is a hard game to ref, basketball's so fast that things can happen in a split second, and literally it could be my 2 fingers touching your wrist that derail your shot, but I just can't see it, or I don't have the angle. And so, like Damian, I do agree. I think 4 refs would actually be amazing. I think that would help things a lot. But either way it goes, we could put 6 refs out there. Refs are going to miss calls. And that like just goes with the game. That's a part of the game that we have to accept. And it's for good and for bad. Swiper, you guys might win a game against the Nuggets or against the Wolves this series due to a ref missing a call. But you guys might turn around and win a game due to the refs missing a call. Like that we've all been on the side as a fan where our teams are like we move on or we win because of a bad call from a ref. But we've also been on the opposite side of that. So like it's a good and a bad, and it's something that it's just we have to deal with it.
I think refs have always been a problem, and I agree with you. I think Damian's got an awesome idea for an extra ref. Like that's an extra pair of eyes would never hurt. I think the chat's making some great points, though. I think this is a bigger issue now in the modern day because the NFL and the NBA are in bed with the gambling sites. And anytime you find that, you're going to have incentive for people to play with lines and stuff like that. I think that's one of my biggest, and I hated it when it happened, that it compromises the integrity of your game. And I think that's a reason why we are having more ref conversations than ever before, because you can find an easy incentive for,
but I think
for doubt to be cast upon games.
Yeah. And the problem is that, I mean, I think almost all of it is like conspiratorial and it's not real, but it's like every single time somebody does miss a call now, I mean, because people are financially invested in games. And so then they have an angle to be like, hold on, that's why you deliberately did that. And it's just like going to create this spiral effect. And then also, I mean, refs have always missed calls, right? I don't think we should frame it as refs have always been a problem, because I think, like, Ron, you're right. Like, refs have so many things they have to call. They're going to get stuff wrong. I also think some of this that people get mad about and they say that's the ref's fault. Like, these are league directives on how things should be called in terms of fouls. But I mean, also now we have a million angles of everything and we review everything 100,000 times, or if they miss a call and they just miss it in real time, right? And it's something they can't review, like a goaltending or whatever that they don't call. Now we show that replay 1,000 times. So it's like just the awareness everybody has of every single tiny missed call is at a 10 out of 10. And I think that just puts so much more focus on this, and refs aren't going to be perfect. Refs can't be perfect. I think there are, again, league directives that we can change to make the game more balanced offensively and defensively. But I also think in the playoffs, we strike the pretty good balance there, and people tend to talk about officiating a little too much, I think.
And one last thing, I think, Ron, before we move on, last thing as well.
You got it.
I think the core of the problem as well is sometimes it can come down to education. Like, I think that there's also benefit in people understanding, like, the ref side of the game. I think it's a thankless job. I think it's the hardest job in the world. But educating people, like the general public, the general basketball public, on what refs are seeing, how refs go about their process, I think can also help the game.
All right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and transition by way of this next super chat into our next topic. Once again, if you're in here, like the video, subscribe, and don't just do that. Don't just stop there. Also, become a member because, well, we have something very special for all of our members coming up very soon, and that's our members-only streams. Aside from the fact that we've revamped all of our membership tiers, we've added more perks, we're giving you guys more than we've ever given you. But the biggest thing that we are giving you is our Sunday and Thursday night members-only streams at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, obviously, you must be a member to join, hence the name. But the beautiful part about it is if you are an all-star, not only do you get to watch, not only do you get to type in the chat, but you can also come up on stage and cook any of us, or just have a peaceful conversation, or Just talk about whatever you want to talk about with the panel. Become a member. Look out for our members only streams, and I'm excited to see which one of you all-stars really come up and cook. All right, fellas, we do got a super chat from $20 super chat. Here we go. Spanish Jose TV said, congrats to Keldon Johnson. I'm shocked he won. He hasn't played great lately, shooting 21% in April and in the playoffs, 3 points in game 1, 7 points in game 2. But shout out to Bill Simmons for changing his vote based on the playing performances.
Shit's crazy, man.
That's a Keldon Johnson.
That shit is like that made me mad, chill.
Hold on, what happened, Damien?
So Bill Simmons openly admitted that the play-ins impacted his votes, and like his vote should be rescinded on the spot for that. Like that shit is crazy. When it's
he said he was gonna vote for Jaime, and then he flipped to Keldon because he was like, Jaime's in the play-in.
Yeah, they're not in the playoffs yet. Mm-hmm.
What is that? Yeah, I mean, I said that was going to happen when they extended the voting because of the stuff that happened with Luka and Cade, that was going to influence some people's voting. So, just the way it works.
And this is where it gets tricky, Swiper, because if we're doing that, then why aren't we doing it? I don't want to go to the extreme because
that's a good question, though, Chill.
The reason why I'm thinking, why aren't we going to the end? If you are the most valuable player, like if your team misses the playoffs, right? If you're the most valuable player, I mean, I know we got the finals MVP, like the guy who played the best throughout the course of that series. Who played the best in the playoffs? Because he might not have played the best in the playoffs. He might have just played the best for those 4 or 5 games. Who played the best throughout the course of the season, from the beginning to the end? And if this guy did, even if we get to the playoffs, even if he lost, was he the best player throughout? Did he have the best season of anybody else?
Well, to be fair, the NHL, they just do the same thing in baseball. They do the same thing in baseball. The NHL just does a better job at like when the regular season ends in the NHL, there's a President's Trophy that's handed out to the best regular season team, and then the Hart Trophy. All the DPOYs, that's handed out at the very, like the season ends, President's Trophy, and then right in that first round, you're going to get that MVP, DPOY, all that other stuff. And then everything stops. Now you then move into the playoff awards and all that stuff. So I think there just needs to be a little bit more expediency on the NBA side that announce the MVP, announce the regular season winners, and then end it. Like it's done. So by the time we were going into May, not even May, April 25th or whatever, it's wraps. Like it's over. Conversation's over. That they won. Now it's the playoffs, and then now if you want to do a playoff MVP show, you can. Even though I feel like that'd be a little tougher to do, just because gauging performances in the playoff. What if somebody had a spectacular first round, but their team sucked and then they lost? You know what I mean? And then somebody went on and had a mid run, but then they went all the way to the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? So then you could start getting into some of those conversations. But I just think that the NBA, once the season ends, instead of just doing all this stuff about fanfare and awards and all that stuff, just end it. Just call it a day. Just end it. Just end it.
Because I think at least they're doing a better job this year, right? Because it's like when Embiid won in 23, his team was already eliminated when he got the award. But I agree with you completely, Swipe. It should be like, and it's not even like this big dramatic thing. I think so, right?
No, I think in fact,
I know that happened with Jokic in 22.
Yeah, it was his son.
Okay, maybe it was Jokic.
Yeah, it was Embiid because I remember his son actually brought the award out for him. The little
that was in the second round, right? Yeah, second round.
Yeah, his son brought the award out. But to your point, Carson, yes, that has happened. Dirk in 2007, they got bounced in round 1, and he ended up getting the league MVP trophy, right?
And it's just this weird feeling. Yeah, I think a playoff MVP would be interesting. I would say we can get rid of the conference finals MVP and do a playoff MVP and a finals MVP and maybe a first team all playoffs. Like you're right, Swipe. It would be weird to sort of balance individual performance versus team performance. Like I think to win playoff MVP, you probably have to be in the final. Maybe you weren't necessarily the best player in a vacuum, but I think the reason that we have these awards as being a regular season thing makes sense. I don't necessarily want to change that and make MVP now something that is the 82 plus the playoffs. Like it's always been a regular season award. I think that's cool, but I wouldn't be opposed to adding a couple of more postseason things.
The thing that I'm worried about, the thing that I'm concerned
that'd be fun,
is Bill Simmons said that his vote got changed for the play-in game. So just so we clear, guys, this ain't the first time this happened. This is some other guys who got swayed in the playoffs, maybe in game 1 or game 2 of the playoffs starting, and decided to vote for. And quietly, how do we know that?
Well, no, the
Well,
voting
ballots get locked right after the regular
on Sunday.
season.
On Sunday, the
It's just
ballots
this year
locked.
So then what
changed
happened?
Because
but
it-
Luke Curran
because
came
they
back
made-
like
Rachel Nichols was another one that
Okay.
said she got swayed.
All right, I
a
got you.
little bit.
All
Like
right,
she
Yeah,
was
so now
susceptible
Cunningham
to getting
moved to
swayed.
exceptions.
Like,
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
more evidence that the rule sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But
Just gotta get rid of
aside
the
from all of
65
that,
games.
do we believe Keldon Johnson was worthy of this? Does he deserve it?
Worthy, yeah, worthy, absolutely worthy.
What's crazy to me though is I wouldn't even given him 6th man of the year on his own team. I would have given it to Dylan Harper before I went to Keldon Johnson. I think Keldon had a career year, and I want to give him a ton of credit. Like, I didn't think Keldon was possible. What he was doing this year was really possible, like scaling down his role, being an efficient jump shooter this year, filling in the gaps for the Spurs. I think he's a really good bench player. I just don't think his archetype is really the most valuable when we're looking at bench roles. Like, I thought Harper was more responsible for engineering that bench unit and really making that offense go in non-Castle and Fox minutes. And I don't know. I think Keldon's a really good, like, supplemental player. I think he fills in the gaps really well, but it's not the most valuable kind of bench role to me. And I thought Harper was more was better in the regular season individually this year. I also would have went Jaime, and to put a bow on the Simmons thing, I think that's egregious, man. I don't know how a guy plays 80 games in a year and then one game in the play-in swings your vote when he's been balling all year long. But
And it's about the team. It's like the team didn't make the playoffs. It's like 6th man of the year. This isn't like a team success award.
Which means you had to think that both Jaime and Keldon Johnson at that point were close. I don't think that they were. I thought Jaime outplayed him this season as a rotation guy. I don't think it was like that at all. But with that also being said, I do value what Keldon Johnson did. I don't think that we talk enough about how important a rotation guy is. A 6 guy coming off the bench, giving you 20, 25 minutes. Now, what I don't want to do, Carson, is I don't want to get wrapped up in the buckets, even though Jaime Jaquez was the best bucket getter coming off the bench this year in the league. Nobody averaged more points than him. But I think the stuff that Keldon Johnson did as a 6 man, like the dirty work stuff, 50-50 balls, like being able to be one of the more versatile defenders on that crew, I do think that is definitely valued. Problem is usually when you're talking about the 6th man of the year, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at buckets. Like, how many buckets did you average coming off the bench? And I think that with Jaime, the fact that offense got sped up, I think it really enhanced his game, and I think it gave the Miami Heat an even better offense than it would have had he not been on that group. That's why I voted. That's why I thought that Jaime Jaquez
doing
was the
strictly
best
buckets.
player in the game.
I think Tim Hardaway Jr. has a great case.
Of
He made
course
221 threes off the bench and won several games for Denver this year.
I actually think
So the Carson Nipple got a case for being the league MVP because he led the league in threes. Swiper.
No.
Jaime had the best.
He has a case for rookie of the year.
Jaime had the best raw production off the bench, and he played 8 less games than Keldon. So I thought he should have won. And it's usually
I think Keldon did play. Keldon did play all
reserved
82.
for the most
That is
production.
impressive.
Yeah, he did.
He did play all 82.
He did.
Yeah. I think the playmaking is a separator in Jaime's favor against Keldon. Like, he's a really good passer. Early in the year, he was like top 3 in assists per game off of drives. I don't think he ended that high, but like, I mean, he was their best offensive player in a lot of games early in the year. Cause like you said, Chill, the change in the system, it being so much about just who can create an advantage as a driver, transition. Like, he was really good. That being said, I had AJ Mitchell as my 6th man of the year because I thought he was
He was really good.
He was good.
But he missed a ton of time, so I got no problem with that. But I would have gone Jaime over Keldon if it came down to those two.
Yeah, I had Jaime, and kind of for obvious reasons. You know, I don't. We could talk about Jaime in a second. I do think Jaime got snubbed, but I want to hear a little bit more about AJ Mitchell's case because I do think that's an interesting pick, and like he just bursted on the scene out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and
he's
so
good.
like
I just thought he was by far the best bench player in basketball this year. Like, again, if you want to say, oh, but he missed 20 plus games, so he didn't deliver as much total value. I thought about it and I was like, man, I think he still did. Like, he was OKC's second best perimeter creator by far this year. Like, as an offensive player, flat out. Not only did he play way more than J-Dub, he was better than J-Dub offensively when they were both on the court. They were 49-7 with him. They were 15-11 without him. Like, when AJ Mitchell was on the court, they were unbeatable. In the Shea and AJ minutes, they were like astronomically great. And then when AJ was on the floor without Shea, they were still like a plus 14 net team. Like, he was way better than J-Dub at running the non-Shea minutes. He's just like such a complete offensive player, such a good paint scorer, really good passer, good off-ball feel, plus defender, good in transition. I'm like, that's just the dude who you go into the playoffs and I'm like, he's going to swing the most games. And it's not, again, about the playoffs. It's just, that's kind of the measure of who's actually the best basketball player.
He was
and I thought AJ
plus 17 net rating in 1,200 minutes this year too. With the
it's ridiculous. It's
that's
ridiculous because, like,
yeah, that's
I
nuts.
mean, him being as good as another ball handler, protecting the ball like he does, while he's a plus defender for you, it's like he's the perfect bench guard for OKC. He's a big reason, I think. I mean, J-Dub now pulled his hammy. We'll see what the update is, but like, they're going to be just fine without him. They could win the title without J-Dub, and I think AJ Mitchell is the biggest reason for that compared to last year. He's the biggest difference. So I just thought he was the most valuable, biggest difference maker for his team.
Yeah, so we all agree that Sam Presti won GM of the year.
Yes, I think
he should win every year.
I can get with that.
Over Brad Stevens. Sure.
Yes. Those guys, them guys that Brad Stevens have on that crew, that Celtic crew, them dudes was on the crew last.
He's 23.
I think that credit I think goes more to Missoula than it does to Brad Stevens. He was on that crew last year. What Sam Presti did with Mitchell and all of those other guys and bagging those guys, I think that's a tall feat.
But chill, what about the Spurs?
Award after him eventually.
Got to respect.
What about Brian Wright?
What about Brian Wright? I mean, it ain't difficult. It's difficult to get the number one pick, but it ain't difficult to pick Wemby. It ain't difficult to find Carter Bryant in the draft when you got the 9 picks. Stop, Braun.
It's not difficult
to get Harper.
So how many people have we seen fumble the bag at number 3?
It ain't like he found him at Montana or some shit like that.
He got Stephon Castle. A lot of people thought he got other people. He wouldn't got
that was a great 2024 GM of the year this year.
Because
who they drafted 2 years ago.
No, because all of that factors in though. Like the players that you get. I don't know. Y'all might be talking about GM of the year. I'm more so talking about
this year.
No, for sure. I understand that.
I understand that, Mars. I understand that. I'm just saying I'm talking about just how good these guys are at their job.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? And, so I'm because Chill brought up drafting Victor Wembanyama and drafting number 1 pick. So I'm like, well, he did more than just that, The De'Aaron Fox move, the Luke Cornett move, what's his name, Stephon Castle. He could have got Ace Bailey instead of Dylan Harper. He could have got VJ Edgecombe instead of Dylan Harper. I think he's made some pretty good moves. And once again, I'm gonna always put respect on Brad Stevens too.
Yeah, I think what he did you think about all the new guys in the rotation this year. Keita stepping up, and I know he was in Boston last year and gave him good minutes, but him stepping into a bigger role, him trading Simons at the deadline to get Vucevic, I thought really shored up the rotation. And then some of the guys down the roster that have been giving them good minutes. Like, I wasn't a really big believer in some of the young players for them, but I thought Hugo Gonzalez was awesome, Jordan Walsh. And again, I don't know, with all of these teams too, I think it's kind of a balancing act of like, how much credit do you give to like the internal development, to the general manager? You can have that internal debate about all of these teams too, because it's more of an organizational kind of, if you're going to give this award out, it's a testament to everybody up and down. But I don't know. Boston was like the biggest surprise to me. So I probably would lean them for executive and coach of the year.
Yeah, I'm definitely not mad at Boston. I think there's 4 big horses in this race for GM/coach of the year, whichever way you want to look at it or go about it. I think obviously Boston. I think the Spurs as well. Detroit has to get some love.
Yeah.
They just have to. Because, and for me, it's in large part due to what I highlighted earlier. Like when we put all of these teams on the table, Detroit potentially could be the least talented team Yet, when it comes to like expectations, now I know Boston overperformed crazy expectations too, but Detroit was in that same tier as well in the way that they were able to, exceed expectations and stuff
Bro,
like
is it
that.
ridiculous to think that they could have been the
And
number
they
one
lost
seed?
two
I mean,
starters
they
as
were
well.
going to be a top. I thought they were going to be a top 5 seed this year anyway. If I'm being honest, so if they were going to be a top 5 seed, is it ridiculous to think that they could have been the overall number one seed, especially from
me.
you, considering that you think the East is not whack, it's wiggity whack. So is it ridiculous to think that?
Chill, I would have laughed at you. People would have called me a clown for my reaction to if you would have told me last year that the Detroit Pistons would be the number one seed. I would have went ballistic up here. I really would have. So that part of it is because I'm so shocked. That is my biggest thing, and maybe it's just me overreacting to it. But once again, I think Detroit GM of the year and coach of the year, they should have a horse in that race. And then last but not least, obviously what Swiper brought up, you gotta give OKC their love too. But yeah, should be interesting. I'm excited to see what that's gonna look like. But fellas, as of now, let's go ahead and talk about this game because we talked about the fouling and we talked about all that good stuff. But we didn't talk about SGA scoring 37 points. We didn't talk about Phoenix making a late rally in the game to almost get back in it, but then OKC shut the door on them. We didn't talk about Dylan the Menace scoring 30 points and getting buckets last night. Let's get into it. What did we see from this game too last night? Is it much to talk about, or is it just like OKC it's too good?
So I think Mars has been an advocate of the Phoenix Suns all year long, and I'm really glad we're talking about this because I wanted to talk to Mars specifically about this. Mars, we got to figure out a way to get Jalen Green better looks, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like every time, just him, because he is one of their better bucket getters. I mean, I think Devin Booker is their best bucket getter, no question, but I think that he's one of their better bucket getters. And the fact that every time he comes off a screen or for DHO, all he's doing is squaring up guys going one-on-one. That's a recipe for disaster because his entire shot diet is tough shots against this team. Where are the pin downs? Where are the backdoor cuts? Which I saw once last night, Mars. I saw one backdoor cut, which he barely got it off because Chet was underneath the basket. But I feel like
Chet. I mean,
of course, absolutely. But I'm thinking to myself, where's the action where we got back screens and flare cuts? Where's the coming off?
They go him a couple ones. He had a couple wide open threes. There was one. Was that a baseline out of bounds? I think. He ended up getting a wide open corner three. He missed. He got a couple wide open looks from three. He just missed them. He was 1 for 8 or whatever. So ideal world, he makes a couple of them. 3 for 8 is better than 1 for 8. His first half was decent.
It was decent.
The second half was egregious. But I mean, he's just limited in terms of what he can do against a defense that my biggest issue with Jalen Green is he can only see what's right in front of him when it comes to like playmaking and making reads. And quite frankly, OKC's gonna take away the first avenue of like his first pass is like his only read, and they're gonna take that away every time. So every time he's driving and they rotate over, he can see the laydown pass, but so can OKC, and he can't make the second layer read.
Him into that.
Yeah, he can't make the second layer read, so he's gonna end up turning the ball over when he's driving with no plan. I do like the mid-range stuff that he's seemingly added this year. But it also seems that he's taking that a lot more. And now there is like, we got to understand that even if 44% from mid-range is good, that doesn't mean you want to be shooting 9 of them a game.
It just looks like he's always got a hand in his face when he's either shooting in the mid-range or when he's coming off one of them screens. Don't get me wrong, Mars.
It's OKC's defense. He's going to have a hand in his face. Like they said it in game 1. Devin Booker took 17 shots. 16 of them were contested. Like
that's what I mean.
You got to make contested shots against OKC if you're a perimeter player. You just have to. There's not much you're going to get that's going to be easy. Now, ideal world, when he does get the easy ones, he had a couple, like I said, threes that are easy, like wide open looks. Like he's got to make them. Like he's obviously looking at himself. He knows he's got to make them. Devin Booker's not getting easy looks either. Devin Booker's struggling to get shots off of the way they're guarding him. Dylan Brooks is just going to shoot because he feels like it. So, shout out to him. He made him yesterday. So once again full credit, but it's just going to be hard to generate good looks against OKC.
Yeah.
So that's not really my biggest concern. Like if Phoenix want to win a game, it's not about getting clean look. Don't turn the ball over. That's it. I said it after game 1. They can't shoot themselves in the foot. Like they're not gonna win. Everyone knows they're not gonna win.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure Phoenix know they're not gonna win. Now they're not gonna say that, but they know they're not gonna win. But you don't want to lose because you're shooting yourself in the foot. And that's what they've been doing thus far. All these turnovers. I think Devin Booker had, I want to say 6, 5. Jalen Green had 7. I want to say 5 of them were in the second half. And it's a lot of unforced turnovers. Devin Booker got ripped by J-Dub. Jalen Green got ripped by J-Dub in game 1. I definitely remember that. He's driving into a crowd, trying to dribble through 3 people. He's losing the ball. Like you can't give them runouts, and that's what they're giving them right now. I think Logan said it was a ridiculous number to a little number in terms of points of turnovers.
It's like 51-2, some goofy shit.
It was definitely after game 1. It was like 36-2. Yeah, after game 1, it was 36-2.
Set a record. It literally set a record.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. Like you can't do that. Like they're trying to get offensive rebounds. Shout out to them. Oso Iguodala has been good on the offensive glass. Colin Gillespie's been crashing. Like they're doing what they can. But the way for them to even compete is they got to make their threes. They have to. And they have to not turn the ball over. And then maybe they can get a game. That's it. Like they're not going to win the series. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
But they're not making it easier for themselves in any real way. So
this J-Dub injury is a problem, a huge problem. It's going
for OKC long term, yes, not for them in this series, but for OKC
they can win. I think they can win the series without.
They can win the second round without J-Dub.
They'll sweep this series without him. They'll cruise through the next round without him. I mean, I think in games that Shea played this year without J-Dub, they were 32-4. Like, I do think they could win the title without J-Dub. I think it's a tougher path, but it doesn't matter at all until the conference finals. And just like, hopefully he's okay and it doesn't linger because
if they end up seeing the Lakers on that front in the semifinal, I think they smoked the Lakers. I don't think they beat.
They beat whoever.
They were up 30 in the first half.
They beat whoever comes out of the conference finals, whether it's San Antonio, Portland, I guess, the Timberwolves or the Nuggets. Like whoever they see, assuming it's not Portland, it's going to be tough without J-Dub. I do think in the regular season you can get by, but we've seen it repeatedly. They need J-Dub in the playoffs. I think we've seen that be a common theme, just with his second side creation, his defensive versatility, just having another person who defenses have to worry about. They need him to beat the higher leverage opponents. I think. Do I think they can win without him? You're higher on him than I am.
I mean, definitely. I think J-Dub's a playoff player. I think his versatility really shines in the playoffs, and I do think having another ball handler who can step up matters. Like I agree that the regular season formula of straight Shea ball plus defense is a little easier to pull off, but I still think OKC is good enough at that formula, and Shea is ridiculous enough, and the defense is ridiculous enough, and AJ emerging that like I could see them getting it done. But for sure, it's just a really unfortunate year for J-Dub. Dude has not been able to stay healthy for a month straight all year, and he was playing awesome in these 2 games, and it's like when he's playing like he was and Chet's playing like he was, that's when it's like, yeah, nobody's beating OKC, and then immediately he gets hurt. That is definitely a big bummer.
Is this hand injury with Shea a problem?
No. He shot better after it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I think.
It's not on his shooting hand. It's on his weak hand. But
yeah,
is this something that's going to affect him?
No.
It looked like just a pain tolerance thing more than like he didn't like break a finger or something. It just looked like obviously, you know, when you jam your finger or like you bend it a bit too far back, like you're gonna be dealing with pain, but it's not like you tore a ligament or something. Unless it comes out that he did tear a ligament, then I'm just yapping. But I don't think he did. So I think he should be good. I think Chet's been really good in this series for them. Lou Dort has decided that he can make threes again. So you know, shout out to Lou Dort. Give him full credit. This is just one team is way better than the other team. Like we can do analysis, but all analysis is gonna lead to if Phoenix do this, they might not get blown out. Like that's really it. Like there's not much they can do to win the series. Even if Shea didn't play the rest of the way, I'm pretty sure OKC would still probably win the series. Like there's just not much that they can do. But once again, Jalen Green was 8 for 23. Like that's not gonna help. With 7 turnovers. Like that's not gonna help you. After having a pretty decent first half, it was like we had like 15 in the first half, and the end of the game with 21. Like that's just not.
Yeah, I feel like the only dude for Phoenix who's comfortable in this series, who actually has some advantage, is Dylan Brooks, just with the strength aspect. Like his ability to play through their physicality compared to Jalen Green, who looks totally overwhelmed against it. Book, who, like you said, Mars, they're really limiting his volume. Like, none of these guys are going to get to easy shots. They're all going to live off tough shots, but at least Brooks is able to give you a bump, create a little separation, get deeper into the paint where it's like a little 12-foot fadeaway. And no, you don't want to be living off of those, but it's like you're saying, Mars, like, there's no path to Phoenix making this series remotely interesting because, like, all of their offense is tough one-on-one shot making against these unbelievable perimeter defenders. Like, they're not putting the defense in rotation, not creating catch and shoot threes. They can't get to or finish at the rim really against this OKC defense. So it's just such an uphill battle every single game. And then, yeah, when you're also getting more than doubled up in points off turnovers, then you can really just.
And I can
They're
definitely
also guarding Dylan Brooks one-on-one, which is a recipe for 25 shots a game.
which I was
so they know what they're doing.
Ox, I love the aggression from Dylan Brooks. I'm because somebody got to get in the fight, right? Somebody got to put up a fight. My man, I'm just saying, you ain't got to shoot the ball every time you touch it. That's all I'm saying, my man. You can get off the field sometimes. You ain't got to shoot it every time.
To me, it's
there might just right quick, Damian, because there might be light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh boy,
there might be. Because we brought up that third quarter. We brought up that third quarter from Detroit. We brought up the third quarter from Detroit. I do just want to say in the fourth quarter last night, Phoenix outscored. They made a comeback. They outscored them 30-18.
They made it a game. They did.
Yeah, I put a tweet about that. The fact that Phoenix had Shea play in the fourth quarter, to me, the series is tied 1-1. That to me is a win.
That's enough right there.
If Shea plays in the fourth, Phoenix won that game.
That's enough.
That's
right
how I view the series.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, in my mind, the series is tied 1-1. Phoenix took control of home court. But yeah, they're not going to win, and they're very smart with what they do, obviously, because it's in their best interest to let Dylan Brooks shoot as many shots as he wants, regardless of he had 30 last night. Once again, you tip your cap.
Scored 13 in the fourth. So
they are guarding him one-on-one with no help.
Yeah,
like they are staying home on everyone and letting Dylan Brooks do whatever he wants. Because Dylan Brooks, if he sees one-on-one, in his mind, he has the advantage, regardless of whether or not that's true. Like game one,
who's covering him, by the way, Mars.
He was 6 for 200 in game one, and then last night he's 12 for 24 or 23, whatever he was. So it's like, yeah, but in both games they just sent one-on-one. Whoever's guarding him is Chet, if it's J-Dub, if it's AJ Mitchell, whoever, just guard him. He's going to shoot. Whatever happens, happens. Whereas Devin Booker's getting blitzed off every screen. Like, he's seeing multiple defenders in the gaps. Jalen Green is seeing multiple defenders in gaps. He's not getting blitzed the same way Devin Booker is because he's not the same threat. But he's seeing multiple defenders in his driving lanes, forcing him to make decisions. Dylan Brooks' only decision is, what shot do I want to take? That's it. That's the only decision he has to come up with. Is he going to get to a bump fade? Is he going to try to get all the way to the rim? Is he going to shoot a step back three? Whatever shot he wants, they're giving to him. And you're not going to win a series. No disrespect to Dylan Brooks. You're not going to win a series with Dylan Brooks going one-on-one. And
Brooks,
know that.
Brooks and Jalen and Book combined have 13 assists in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not going to
my thing with it. My thing is with it's always just about the OKC defense. Like, I went back and watched some film. And chill, sometimes we overcomplicate the game, but their defensive fundamentals, man, like the stunting, the contesting to recover, the early box out, the rotations, the verticality at the rim without fouling, being in the gaps, being on a string, it's so just fundamental. And when you combine that with the personnel, all of a sudden you got a defense that just can win you games on their own. So I don't see Phoenix having anything here, but it is just fundamentally unbelievable when you go back and just watch them, how they're on a string.
The one thing
it's phenomenal.
Still Suns in 7 though, so you guys can stay on that side.
The one thing that I've always marveled at with the Oklahoma City Thunder is how connected they are on defense. Because I see stuff that they do on offense where they can get a little stagnant. I catch them watching when Shea gets the basketball, some standing around from time to time. Even when he's off the floor, there is a little bit more ball movement. But the one thing that they can rely on more than anything, even when they aren't making shots, they can rely on that defense to turn into offense and turn into offense fast. What it reminds me of is how the Golden State Warriors would turn 8 points into 20. They would turn a 4-point lead into a 17-point lead based on their defense, just like that. That's what it reminds me of when I'm watching the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
All right. Is there anything that anybody else would like to talk about regarding this sweep before we move on?
I'm loving Dylan. I'm loving Dylan Brooks.
No, it's just Dylan doesn't have a choice. They don't have any other option other than him. You have to take over the offense. Just the way they're guarding.
They got a better bucket getter, Swiper. You've been telling me that all season long. They got a better bucket getter in Devin Booker. He's a better bucket getter.
They're guarding them different. Like, it's not rocket science. They're guarding one guy to make him not score. They're guarding the other guy to let him score. Like, we have to understand coverages and what that leads to
I get that
on the offense side. It's a similar thing with Kevin Durant against the Lakers. Like, it's easy to just say Kevin Durant needs to go take 25 shots, but look at how they're guarding him compared to how they guard other people. The defense very often can dictate who takes what shots, and they're actively taking away Devin Booker's offense and actively conceding Dylan Brooks. So it's easy to say, everyone agrees Devin Booker's a better scorer than Dylan Brooks. Everyone agrees with that. But if they're actively guarding him with 2 on the ball, do we want Devin Booker just shooting a bunch of contested by 2 people?
I don't want him to do that.
Him to go 2 for 18 and then say, "Oh, Devin Booker's a choker."
No,
like, there's no winning in this situation.
I do not want him. No, I do not want him to do that. And I recognize the fact that they are telling Dylan Brooks that fall away 20-footer, knock yourself out, sir. That long step back 3, absolutely knock yourself out. But with that being said, I understand the coverages, but he is a better bucket getter. So they do have a choice. I'm not going to argue that point. They do have a choice, and the choice is Dylan Brooks. That's the choice. Because I mean, it's not that they don't have a choice. Yes, they do.
They don't even have a screener that Devin Booker can get involved with consistently. Oso's not even a screener to help me. Like, they don't have a center.
They're missing Mark Williams as a role threat because Oso Ighodaro has been egregious at the rim for all of his offensive rebounding.
Yesterday, I mean, he ended up getting. He was wide open, by the way.
I've watched Shea meet him at the rim twice in 2 games. I've watched Shea meet him at the rim twice in 2 games. Like, he's been terrible at the rim. Kamal Malawach is 19. And he's playing. Like, his first real minutes of the season,
he's in a
his first real minutes of the season are coming against OKC. Like, there's not much he's going to be able to give.
Jacking up a 3 and above the break.
Shout to him. He shot that shit with confidence. But Mark Williams is hurt. Their best floor spacer and Grayson Allen is also unavailable. Like, Jordan Goodwin, their best point of attack defender, missed game 2.
He didn't play yesterday.
Like, they're hobbled in a series in which they had 0% chance to win. They're now at negative 4% chance to win. Like, it's hard to overcome what they're dealing with when they were already at a major deficit. Like, it's just.
But I do want to give Devin Booker credit.
If they win a game, they won the series.
Devin Booker yesterday was taking, after when Brooks got that last foul, he was taking the SJ assignment. It didn't work because SJ was hooping at that point. But Devin Booker was like Team USA defense yesterday. Like, he was face guarding, he was putting pressure on the ball. He's doing everything he can. The problem is, like I said, they don't have a center. They don't have another offensive engine next to him that can take up some of the responsibility. Jalen Green sucks driving the basketball. He can't pass. He can't score. And then on the other end, Dylan Brooks is the only person on the other end that's like, okay, like, I have to be aggressive in this situation and get, granted, he had 30 yesterday. So they literally do not have any viable option to make sure that if Devin is seeing these coverages, that we can make them pay for these decisions that they're making.
Yeah.
And
the Thunder are the best defense at taking away stars.
Nastier than spoiled milk, by the way, Ron.
Like, we've seen what they did to Luka. Like,
yeah,
they limited Luka's volume, and then we're like, oh, Devin Booker just get shots.
100%. It's like BI 2 years ago averaged like 14 a game on 40% true shooting against them. Look at what they did to like Bane and Triple J in the first round. Like, they eat people alive, and specifically they are so fast and they're so comfortable putting 2 on the ball because they know how much havoc they can wreak and how quickly they can rotate. That, like, I just think it's pointless to look for answers, and honestly, like, to even be like, Book, what does this say about you? Because it's like, I don't know, not much. You're playing OKC. Everybody takes a massive hit against OKC, especially stars. And yeah, I mean, if they're gonna game plan to take you away, they're going to take you away, especially with the limitations of this Suns team.
Anthony Edwards' volume in the playoffs last year. I don't think he had a bad series.
Getting off volume on them is a skill in itself, I think. To be
honest.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Like, to get.
That's why I give Jalen Green props. He's chucking up shots, but he's getting shots up. It's like, I do wish Book was a little more aggressive, but I agree with you, Mars, fundamentally.
It's just, you're not going to be efficient against his defense. No. Like, it's going to be very hard. I'll say that. It's going to be very hard to be efficient against his defense, especially when your surrounding pieces are also just not to that level. Like, Devin Booker, he's not going to get clean looks. Jalen Green is not going to get clean looks. And even if he does get clean looks, he's maybe the most streaky shooter in the league. So, like, clean looks for him is still depending on the game. Like, we saw what he did against Golden State, and now we're seeing what he's doing against OKC. Now, 2 different levels of defense. But, like, it's just That's just who he is. So
Maybe
that's
the
going to be
Oklahoma City defense, Miles, because you literally brought up, and I watched that game last night, and you brought up like he did get some open looks. The Oklahoma City defense is so good that all I saw was a hand in his face and fall away threes, him having a hand in his face to contest a shot on the right elbow, him trying to get to the rim, and he's surrounded by 2 and 3 guys. And I'm thinking, like, how is he supposed to score when this is his shot died? What's going on? When in reality, like, I didn't even see him getting wide open in the corner on an out-of-bounds play when he was now that I'm thinking about it, on the out-of-bounds play, it was I forgot who was taking the ball out, and it was right in the right corner. That's the one I remember. But other than that, it just felt like everything he shot last night was him squaring up, going one-on-one with a guy, and I'm thinking there's no way you're going to get consistent offense doing that. It's not going to happen.
You're not. Yeah, you're not. But you might get a game where he has 36 just off that same nonsense. Like, it's possible. I'm not. Once again,
so hard.
Don't bet on it. Take the lesson on Splash Sports to Jalen Green. Like, do that for sure. But it's possible that he has one of those games where the mid range is falling, and you end up he goes 12 for 21 on a bunch of difficult shots. It's like, oh, credit to him. But it's not going to be. You're not going to get sustainable offense against them. That's it. Regardless of whether or not you win a game of tough shot making, but you're not going to get sustainable offense if you're Phoenix, and that's what it's about when you want to win a series. Sustainability.
Let's hope they get a game, man.
Outlier shooting.
No, they're not.
They're getting game 3 and game 4.
You're getting a foot in your ass in game 3. That's what you're going to get. You're getting a foot in your ass in game 4, 2. That's what you're going to get. The series today's Thursday. Raw on Tuesday. This series is over. We're done with Phoenix and Oklahoma.
Stay on that side.
Mars, you said that if Shea plays in the fourth quarter, that's a win for the Suns. I think if the Suns lose a game by single digits, they won the series. They did their job.
We lost by 9, yo. If that means that it was a 3-possession game.
They're in the conference finals, in my opinion.
OKC was the biggest favorite in NBA history going into the playoffs yesterday, like literally in terms of the line. So it's
to win
like
the championship or to win this series?
No, to win that game, they were 17.5 points favored. Like,
hey, we covered. Hey, 13.
They did cover. Suns covered.
Yeah.
Hey, they showed some heart at the end. Credit to them. They showed some heart at the end. Yep.
They hooped that whole fourth quarter. They hooped, and like part of it is sometimes you gotta have like a sense of urgency.
And Jalen Green decided to shoot a contested pull-up 3 and then turn the ball over the next play. I watched it. There was hope. And Jalen Green took it all away from us.
It was a lot of hope. Well, not a lot of hope, but it was like, that was interesting because they make it.
You saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Green just turned us around.
They got the quarter that you're always praying for if you're playing OKC, where dudes were just missing open catch and shoot threes. And it's like, if that happens, that's what can leave the door open just that much, and then the door was closed just like that.
And then Chet changed the game defensively in the third quarter as well.
4 blocks in 2 minutes, dude.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. There's a reason he came second in DPOY. We'll just say that.
But all right, fellas, we have some good games tonight. Speaking of game 3, we have 3 game 3s tonight. I'm going to start with probably the easiest one just to gauge on. The Cavs and the Raptors. Who do you guys have winning tonight in Toronto?
Cavs.
Keep doing what you're doing.
This is a sweep.
This is Raptors in 7.
If the Raptors get one game, this is probably the one. They're back at home. They're super motivated, backs against the wall. The Cavs are a team that will take their foot off the gas a bit, so I can see that happening. But, man, I mean, their big 3 is playing so well. That offense is just flowing, and the Raptors' offense is rough.
Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. That's it. Keep doing.
We're gonna figure out the offense.
The difference in this series is the interior offense.
He's showing the road.
Different in addition to Donovan Mitchell getting super busy. The difference in this series is the interior offense, their ability to get to the rim and score at the rim because they don't have any rim protection. Their rim protection is relying on Scotty Barnes and Kyler Murray Boyles. That's their rim protection.
Right. Yeah, Jakob Poe has been a criminal.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Mars.
It's actually he's been egregiously bad.
Sorry. They don't have any rim protection.
And shout out to Colin Murray Boyles for a rookie. I think he's been really good.
I love him.
So shout out to him. I think
Mamu's been trash too for a lot of this too. He can't guard anything.
He was for sure trash in game 1. I think game 2 was a little
garbage swiper trash.
No, he scored 8 straight points.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to guard.
He can't guard anything in the series.
He can't guard in this series.
Scotty literally by himself.
Brandon Ingram.
Jamal Sheck competes. But I think Scottie
Where
Barnes
is
a
Brandon
big-
Ingram, by the way, Damien? What
Brandon
happened
Ingram's
to
been the
Brandon
story
Ingram?
of this series for
Still
me.
getting
Like,
top blocked by
it's-
Dean Wade right now as we speak. And that's what's happening.
What is
it's
going
just
on
like-
here? Like one of the better bucket getters in the game gets completely
One of the
shut
what?
out.
One of the what?
One of the better bucket getters in the game.
One of the what?
One
How
of
many-
the
he is-
better
he is one of
bucket
the
getters
better
in the
bucket
game.
getters. People on this list,
the league
Stop
has
acting like this.
450
Relatively,
people.
yeah.
If you're top
Yeah,
50,
okay.
you are one of the best. If you're
One of the
top
better bucket getters
Yeah,
in the game
relative,
is getting completely shut out of this series.
If this
Yeah,
is
well,
how the
this is
second
President's
straight
statement.
playoff series goes for him, because like the OKC series 2 years ago was a total disaster, but that you just sort of throw out because it's
Yeah,
OKC.
he wasn't fully healthy. He wasn't fully healthy.
Yeah, okay, sure. So he's got double asterisk on that one. If he does this,
Yeah, this
yikes.
one's
But I
bad.
mean, like in the first game, honestly, like they limited his volume, but I mean, him just shooting over people was the best offense the Raptors had in game one. Now, that's not good. You're not going to live off of that when like the Cavs are getting dunks and great looks in the paint and open threes whenever they want it. But I mean, BI missed some tough shots that maybe he comes back and makes in game two because he lives off of tough shots, and that was particularly ugly. But I'm not a BI guy. I do think it's a rough go for him regardless. But shout out to Scotty. He's doing what he can.
archetype. We've seen it. We know you're not. Yeah.
Some
But-
people
but-
have said
Wait, wait, wait.
What
What
are
archetype?
scorers?
Some
Yeah.
people
If
have
you're a
said
wing-
they're
if
seeing
you're a wing
ghosts of a
scorer
certain
for the
someone.
Raptors, yeah, if you're a wing scorer for the Raptors who shoots mid-range jumpers, Carson hates you.
And,
That's just
well,
clear. Carson hates you.
And if you're a massive playoff dropper, you know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of
It's
that.
cool. It's cool. I seen that series against the Suns in 20.
Yeah, he was on fire in that series.
Yeah, I seen that series.
He was.
But yeah, Brandon Ingram has to be better. Brandon Ingram for sure has to be better. I think Scottie Barnes has been about as good as you could hope for as a scorer in this series. He's made some threes. He's been getting downhill using his physical imposition. I'm not sure you can really ask for much more from him. RJ's been about as good as you could hope for from him as well. It's really just Brandon Ingram and Jakob Poeltl who have not held up their end of the deal, and they don't have Emmanuel quickly. And then defensively, they just can't guard the Cavs. Like top to bottom, they just can't guard the Cavs, so that doesn't help. But shout out to James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and Evan Mobley, and Max Strus, all having a really good series. We'd like to see Sam Merrill make some shots, but beggars can't be choosers at this point. Everyone else making shots, one person can miss out.
Is anybody taking the Raptors? Game 3.
I want to give them.
So it's just me and Mars.
Yeah, I want to give them a chance. I'll say I'll lean Raptors in this situation.
Who has it been a sweep?
I think it's probably a sweep. But I think if the Raptors get
I
one,
think it's a
then
gentleman's
they-
sweep. Actually, I lie. I think it's a gentleman's
I
sweep.
think Raptors win game 4, and I think the Cavs go home, and I think that they.
Oh, they win the inconsequential game. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
Wait, Joe,
I
are
agree
you
with
are
that,
you back in on the Cavs because they've been the best team in the East to start the playoffs?
Okay, first of all,
I'm asking. It's not a.
So this is a great question. Come on,
Hey,
Joe.
their ceiling is completely different with Mobley's playing like this.
I'm out on the Cavs winning
Like if
the
Mo-
NBA championship. I'm out.
No. I said make the finals. I said make the finals. Make the finals.
I've had them in the NBA championship. I'm out
Wait.
on them winning the NBA championship.
No, when James
So
Harden
you
got
think the
traded-
Cavs are going to the finals?
Before the season started, I had them in the NBA championship.
You
against the
did.
Denver Nuggets.
And then James Harden.
James Harden came in, and I said I'm out on them, and
Yes.
I didn't clarify. I'm out on them winning the NBA.
No. Chill.
Okay, so all right.
Do you have them going to the finals?
I do
Like,
have them going back to the. I do have them going to the
All
NBA
right.
championship.
All
So you
right,
think
okay.
they beat? You think they beat Detroit next?
To be honest with you, Mars, and this
and then
might
they
be
beat Boston and then
Man.
Mars, and I'm glad you brought that up because this might be a hot take for you. I got them smoking Detroit. I don't have them beating
Yeah,
Detroit.
they
I got
might.
them smoking Detroit.
They might.
Yes, I do.
Brother, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if you've been not you up here, but if people have been paying attention, that's quite the duo, and especially good vibes. James Harden, it's quite the duo. Evan Mobley's been playing well in the series. Obviously, Jaron Allen is a great player. Yeah, they got a roster, man. Like they got backup point guards they can use, backup guards they can use. Like they got Max Strus, the hero from the 23 playoffs.
and they dominated the first round against Miami last year too.
I mean, Detroit is going to be
Miami shouldn't
somewhat
have been
a
there.
different challenge.
But that was a Pacers bullet ball, though, brother. Like remember Miles Turner was making 5 threes.
Miami shouldn't have.
We go see.
Wait,
And
did
it was
the wheel-
along my timeline, Mars, because you and I had this conversation. Where were we in 22? We were in 22. We were in the East. We made the 2020. Yeah, 22. We made the playoffs. 23. It was supposed to be the semifinals. And 24. It was supposed to be the conference finals. And then last year, was it last year that I had them in the NBA championship? Or I think last year.
Probably.
Or maybe it was 20. Maybe it was 20. Maybe it was 23.
Yeah, last year, yeah.
Yeah, because I think last year, I think I said this. Not I think last year. I said
Oh, you
their
had them
ceiling
in
was
Eastern
the
Conference Finals with Boston.
Yeah, last year their ceiling was the East Finals, and it was this year where I had them in the NBA championship. So I think the wheels still.
By the way, to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't think the wheels fell off for them. I think Mitchell was dealing with an injury. Garland was obviously hurt.
That's part of the wheels falling
I know,
off.
but they also got I'm talking about slapped by the Pacers. The Pacers came in there looking like the best team that's ever played basketball.
Right, so can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because you were saying they got hit with the Pacers bullet ball, and you said something about Miles Turner.
Yeah, remember Miles? Oh, I know you're a Miles Turner guy. Remember Miles Turner in the first half?
I'm not a Miles Turner guy. I never have been.
Let's get to the bottom of that right now.
Don't ever put that on my
He the opposite of a Miles Turner.
Didn't they score like 80 points in the first half? Was it in Cleveland or was that in Indiana that they did that? And Miles Turner made that 3 at half court, like a dribble pull at half court.
Yeah.
And I think they weren't playing terrible either. It's just they were getting beat by 40. The Pacers last year had so much momentum going through the Eastern playoffs. No matter what you did, once they beat the Knicks, it was just like everything from there was not the other way around. Like once they won in the first round versus the Bucks, and then they played versus Cleveland, it didn't feel like they were going to lose again. And then they played versus the Knicks, and then it was
what swung the series is Ox and I went over this. What swung the series was that game they gave away to him. Was that game 2?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
That's what
I
swung
do
the
wish-
series right there.
I
Because they
wish-
had won game 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they won game 1. What swung the series was when they gave that game away. It threw a monkey wrench in everything, and then guys got hurt, and then that was it.
Yeah, I wish we got to see that full series play out with Garland not being completely crippled and Mitchell 100%. I mean, I think the Pacers still would have won, but it would have been a good series, and instead the Cavs just physically fell apart. But I do love the Cavs. I've been super high on them all year, especially since the Harden trade. And I do think they beat Detroit, but I think taking what they're doing offensively against Toronto and saying that's going to translate, like it's going to be a totally different level of challenge, especially for Harden going up against a defense that can switch like that. That's that physical. That's athletic. Like I like Harden, but we have seen him wear down throughout playoff runs in the second half of playoff series. Like the difference in terms of his numbers in the first half of playoff series in this latest stage of his career versus the second half, like it's massive. And if anybody's going to make you feel that, it's going to be Detroit. So I think he's the key. I mean, if he's awesome, they can go to the finals. If he struggles, that's probably why they lose second round. But their offense is amazing.
And just on James Harden as well, if there are point guards watching this, if there are aspiring point guards listening to this, watch James Harden this series in the pick and roll. I beg you to watch this man in the pick and roll with the decision making, with the reads, with the ability to make others better, with the ability to be one step ahead. If you're an aspiring point guard, watch James Harden in this series, man. It's been really surgical.
He's got Toronto eaten out of the palm of his hand. And I mean, he just puts him in such a bind. He's so good at finding advantages, and that I think can get overlooked at just the decision making. Like he sets up and makes so many guys better. I've been a long time Harden critic. I have not really liked Harden. Watching him as he's gotten older and the elite decision maker and playmaker he is every single game it's awesome. I love watching the old guy cook now. I also think when we're looking ahead to the Detroit series, one, I agree with you guys completely. Harden is the X factor for them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, for them getting to the finals. I also think the interior matchup, like Chill was talking about, is going to be huge to watch against Detroit specifically because Mobley and Allen are just shitting on Pirtle and Murray Boyles. Like Toronto doesn't have the actual bigs capable. The look against Duren, and I know Duren has been disappointing against Wendell Carter. Duren has a sort of physicality advantage, I do think, in that matchup against Mobley and Allen, where they're going to face a lot more resistance on the interior. Beef Stew, Duren, even Paul Reed minutes. Like the Detroit matchup and how Cleveland is going to have to scale their physicality in that matchup is huge to me. And I think the playing field is a little more balanced in that series. I'm going to take Cleveland, like Chill said, but I do give Detroit a real chance in that because of their physicality in that defense.
Just a quick question,
fellas.
I know we got to move on, Ron. Just a quick question, Carson. Have you ever? What does it say about a group when you see a guy get offense? When you see a guy get whatever he wants, because that's what it looks like with James Harden in that pick and roll. Like, what does that say about a group,
dude? I think Jared Allen is the most grateful human being alive that James Harden is on his team now. Like what it's done for his quality of offense is just ridiculous. It's amazing, man. Harden's one of the best old man hoopers ever. Like he can get to a shot that he likes out of isolation, Not necessarily whenever, but the step back three is still automatic. And then out of pick and roll, it's like when the floater is falling like this, the playmaking is always going to be brilliant, and he's always going to get to the free throw line a bunch. Like, he's just got so much bread and butter offense. It looks so easy for the Cavs. Logan and I were just saying yesterday, like, they're the most fun offense to watch in the NBA to me, because like Mitchell takeover games are absolutely electric because of how ridiculous he is as a scorer at every level. Harden is in such a great rhythm right now. Aggressive Mobley in the paint is awesome. And then they've got like elite shooting up and down this roster, Strus and Merrill and Jalen Tyson. Like, it's just beautiful basketball.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why when it happened, it was like James Harden isn't here for Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? James Harden is here for Evan Mobley and Jared Allen.
Yeah.
And I think he's definitely unlocked it. And to Damian's point, yeah, kids watch James Harden, but you can't be James Harden. Sorry.
You really can't. No.
I'm sorry. I don't mean no disrespect. You could be great. You could be amazing. You could make it as high as you think you can make it, but you're not going to be James Harden. Okay. Yeah. And with that being said, in this next series, I do have Orlando winning, right? Thing is, I think the Cavs probably will beat Orlando. I don't think the Cavs can beat Detroit.
All we got to do is match the physicality.
Hold up, Ox. You were coming with all this skepticism about Detroit's offense when it pertains to Orlando, but not against Cleveland.
See, now, Logan, this is the thing. Now, y'all know I look at basketball as more of a religion than a sport, and I think sometimes you guys are basketball atheists.
What does that mean?
I think you guys are basketball atheists.
Yeah, I'm gonna need an explanation on this.
Well, because a lot of times, sometimes you got to get that feeling. You got to see it, and you can't explain it. Sometimes I feel like if y'all can't explain it with numbers, and that's no disrespect, no knock. If y'all can't explain it with science or mathematically, then you don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? And
I just like the data to corroborate what I see with my eyes.
This is the funniest way to say I don't know why I don't think.
That's not it. That's like saying so are you telling all religious people that they don't know why they believe in God?
Faith is blind.
I know.
It's called blind faith. Yeah, it's called blind faith.
I know why I believe it because it's just the matchup thing. It's not vibes. I think y'all could beat them. It's the same thing, Mars, we've talked about for years. A might beat B, and B might beat C.
Rock, paper, scissors, yeah.
But
that doesn't mean
A can't beat.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean
A can't beat C though. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. And I'm not a basketball atheist. I don't gotta be able to. There's a lot of things I can't explain that I just believe. Like, okay, yeah, that's.
Well, that's like my Wendell Carter take. Everybody tells me he's trash. I just don't believe it.
Who said that he was garbage?
Who, me? Who
people
say he's trash all the time.
He got a little bit of pushback. I think it was last week when he brought him up.
He's trash.
Everybody was
before he got into this series, people said he was trash.
He said Wendell Carter could shoot. I still don't subscribe to
No, that's not all I said. Mars does that one thing like
I don't subscribe to that. I never said your whole argument was Wendell Carter could shoot. I said you said that.
The last thing I said is he has been able to shoot at times in his career.
And I disagreed with that.
But he has. The problem is you can't disprove numbers.
I disagreed with that.
Sure. But he's a great player in this league. He's a very valuable player in this league. There are a lot of players like Chris Dunn who are not net rating FC that people don't like. And they just make sense to me. I believe in physicality. I believe in defense, and I believe that those players matter. And that's just what it is. I do. I don't care. You can look all you want. I want players to play like me. I like playing defense. I like players that play that way. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who's about to make a bag. I feel like I should get part of that deal personally. As much as I've been capering him for years. Chris Dunn, I should get some money from him. I absolutely should. Naw's making $12 million a year.
And now you want some of Wendell Carter Jr.'s money too?
He's making 19, 100%. Absolutely. I absolutely believe I should get $100,000 from those players combined. As much as I've been talking about them. Please, absolutely, 100%. Yes.
When Darius
Acuff gets his Supermax one day, I absolutely deserve part of that money. 100%.
Well, no, Damien, there are a lot of basketball atheists out there, and that's not math sketballers. There's a difference between basketball atheists
and Bruce Brown has been hooping this series.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Damien? It's like some people if you can't go boom, boom, it's like, but wait. That's not how ball works. There's so many outside things that affect what's going to go on in the basketball game. Now we can't possibly.
But you know what? You know what that is. You know what that is. That's something you develop when you play the game. Like there's certain like variables and like things that if you haven't played the game, like it's like unexplainable. Like there's just certain things that where you can walk into a building and you know you can beat that team, but you can't really beat that team, even though that team's better than that team. Like that's it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, man.
All right, fellas, I do want to move on to the next game. We have another series that is tied 1-1. And I don't know how we got here, but we're here. The New York Knicks let Atlanta win game 2, and now we are in Atlanta for game 3. Who's going to win this game tonight, fellas?
ATL, baby. ATL, baby. TJ McCollum, Nikhil. I said something about that guard rotation in the first place. Dyson Daniels, throw him in there. That team is good. Jalen Johnson hasn't even had a game yet. I expect greatness from those players tonight. I still think the Knicks win the series, but I think there's a lot of reasons to like Atlanta. There's a lot of momentum that they have. They obviously have the best two-way players at the guard spot in the league. You know, shout out to my dude Deuce, but I'm still in the series at least. They're good, man. Like Jonathan Kuminga's had valuable minutes he played in this series. Onyeka has been giving problems to them. And look, Corey Kisper's been getting minutes too in this series, man. Like they have good players. They have really good players, and they've been really good since February as well. Like I think there's something about having momentum. And again, because of the clip yesterday, I told everyone in the world that I'd be Jalen Johnson FC. So I'm definitely, adding that to the agenda list now.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, man, I think this should be a really good game here in Atlanta, bro. It's at least going to be in the clutch.
I got the Knicks.
I'm going to take the Knicks too.
I'm going to take the Knicks.
I think the series goes.
Oh, everyone take. I got the Hawks. Oh,
who's been the best guard in this series, Mars?
CJ, easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not really close. I think I would hope anyway. The Knicks are done with the Brunson and Cat both coming off the court thing.
No,
one of them needs to be on the court. All
no
times.
more of that, please.
Yeah, I would hope we're doing that. Other than that, maybe Jalen Brunson can play good basketball. That'd be nice.
Defensively, that's out of the question. He's cooked. They're gonna go at him every possession.
Well, then you just need to start switching him into every action. Just hide him. It shouldn't be that hard. Just pre-switch. You have great wing defenders. Just pre-switch. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Mars, you see that that Jalen Brunson and Cat shouldn't be off the court all at the same time, right? And to you, that's so obvious. How do we explain when NBA coaches are coaching a team and they're there? Like, how does Mike Brown not understand that? Or what is it about his team that you think he's like, oh, we can get away with it? Or do you think there's so much stuff going on that he's focused on and he's overlooking that part of it? Or why is he doing
I think they got too comfortable, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't like assuming people's because I'm fairly sure Mike Brown knows more basketball than me. I'm fairly sure. So I believe that, so I don't think he hasn't thought through his decision to play Brunson and Cat, match their minutes together. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if that's because he wants to go with more defensively slanted lineups when one of them isn't out there, so he's just leaning in heavily with the defense with Mikal, Josh Hart, OG, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce, and just trying to basically say, in the minutes that we're giving them both for a rest, let's just have the game be 6-6. There we go. We can't score, they can't score. Maybe that's the goal. I don't know what his mindset is. I'm sure he's doing things for a reason he thinks helps the team. I don't think he's just sabotaging his team. For me, it's obvious just because you want to have that offensive punch, you need advantage creation for me. But maybe part of it is that he just didn't think the Hawks were really the caliber of team that could really cause them issues in a series. So maybe you do just start experimenting a little bit with lineups. Maybe part of it is that. But for me, I think you don't want to make these series go longer than they need to. And
you don't.
And I think if Brunson's on the bench, you want to have Cat out there just so you can run the offense through him. It doesn't mean run the offense through him and just give him a bunch of isolations, but you need someone out there who's seen as a viable threat to create their own shot or create advantages for other people. And they haven't had that when they go to the lineups without either one of them. So I would expect that to change, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I do think Mike Brown has rationale behind it. I would like to know if anyone's asked him about it, what the reasoning is. But yeah,
we're a little late.
So Mr. Robinson makes some free throws. I did.
We're a little late in the season, Miles. We're experimenting, by the way, especially in this particular series. We're definitely a little
CJ
late in the season
McCollum,
for
CJ
experiment.
McCollum being the best player in the series in 2026. Man, I love this game, man.
Do you have that? Did you have that on your bingo card, Dame? Did you have CJ McCollum on your
I wouldn't have
bingo
been
card?
surprised if he was the best player on the Hawks in the series.
Yeah, I'll
The
give
best
Carson
player
credit,
in the
even though
series. Yeah,
he's not here. He said that explicitly on our show before we started. He goes, "Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if McCollum went for like 25 per game in this series, pretty damn efficiently." Like, he's honestly McCollum's been awesome in these first two games, guys. That's kind of one of my big hangups about the Hawks pushing this the distance, is just because they are so dependent on McCollum. It's not me doubting McCollum's skill set or his advantages in this series. I think the Hawks have a button that they can press every single possession down with Cat and Brunson on the court, because we're talking about the offense stagnating with those guys off the court. You also have an ability to put these guys in the action if it's a pick and roll, if it's attacking either of them in isolation or in transition when they're both on the court. And so I think CJ in the Atlanta should attack Brunson every time he's on the court, and that's going to be an easy avenue for getting McCollum his looks. My hang up with Atlanta's offense is, one, their dependency on CJ, but also interrelated with that, CJ's dependency on tough shot making to deliver a consistent offense, where I just don't like having to rely on CJ making a bunch of tough mid-range jumpers and getting hot and carrying them across the finish line. When I look throughout the rest of the roster, there's not a lot of really good tough shot makers and half-court creators outside of CJ. It's a lot of athleticism and guys winning defensively and then in transition. So I think CJ is primed to continue cooking in this series. I just think Atlanta's a little too dependent on him for half-court offense for me to bank on them winning this series.
If only they had a number one overall pick they could get with, man. If only they had a number one overall pick.
I don't get why they play him over
Mars.
Kispert. I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't like Kispert or his
bring that
minutes.
up, Mars. But my counter to that, Logan, is if I'm getting to my spot, then I don't think that it's as tough a shot as opposed to,
no doubt,
I'm off balance, and that's why I think they actively hunt Brunson. And they actively, that means that I could get to that 17-foot line that I'm trying to get to. I can get to that right elbow when I'm coming off of that screen, or I could get to that step back when I'm hunting Brunson specifically, as opposed to, if I got OG Anunoby on me, well, I think the shots are going to be a little bit tougher because I probably won't be able to get to that spot as opposed to just getting a shot off, if that makes any sense.
100%. I completely agree. And I think that's why, dude, I'm going to Brunson every time. He's one of the worst defenders in the NBA, point blank. And
don't let him off the hook.
I'll be honest with
Go
you too. Like Swipa was saying, I think it's kind of embarrassing Brunson's lack of effort and energy sometimes, because it's one thing to be tiny, right? And it's one thing to be a small guy that gets attacked. It's another to just get fried, which is what McCollum is doing.
It's demoralizing, Swiper, when you constantly come after me. Like it's not, especially when I'm already not good at this anyway. But then on top of me not being good at it, you consistently are coming after me. Yes, that's going to make me. Man, here we go again.
I mean, to be fair, he got hunted down the stretch and still made that three. So it's like not affecting him, obviously.
I'm talking about defense. Defense alone.
Brunson knows what it is, though, and I think they joke about it too, like in the podcast, like Josh Hart said to him, like because he's obviously not here to play any defense. Brunson knows what he is. You know what I mean? Like but I think some of this is I physically can't do anything about this. Chill. CJ is much taller than me. He's more athletic than me. And he's a great pull-up shooter, and he's faster than me. Like literally every physical advantage. If this was a war,
but I'm gonna be honest. If CJ McCollum has physical advantages,
no, but it's CJ.
No disrespect.
He is 6'5".
No, but CJ isn't small. I know he's 6'3". He's 6'3".
CJ is like 6'3". That's
he's 6'3".
CJ is a small two guard.
I do want to say though, I think there's a little bit of misconception about these players. I think this is where Ak kind of taps into this. CJ 6'3". But I think we fail to realize how big he actually is compared to Brunson, because when you see them in real life, CJ's much bigger. I know, but I'm saying everybody.
CJ McCollum is seen as like a low percentile NBA build / athlete.
But have you seen him before?
Yeah. CJ's tall. He's
how much bigger is he than me? Is he bigger than
me? He's about your size, probably, Chill.
But he's probably like
CJ's smaller than Chill.
No, he's not smaller, bro. He's not skinny either, bro.
There's a good gap between CJ and Dame.
And I think the other thing is too, bro. We also don't realize how
6'1".
Nah, Dame like 6'3",
No, Dame is my height, dog. No, brother. Dame is not.
Dame is a for sure 6'2".
Dame is for sure my height, bro. I'm not even calling
CJ
you, bro.
is clearly taller than Dame.
Without shoes.
Yeah, bro. I've stood next to Dame many times. He is definitely my height, definitively my height, bro. Like
I'd call CJ
6 foot.
I'd call CJ easy 6'4".
Yeah, he's
easy
tall.
6'4".
And Brunson's an easy 6 foot and a half.
5'11".
Brunson's 6 foot on a good day, probably.
But I think Swiper's point is like there's a difference, and I've said this before. There's a difference between being an incapable defender and being an competent defender. And I think like Brunson's.
Nope.
I think like Trae Young to me is like an incapable defender. Like it doesn't matter how much effort he's going to put out there, he's just not going to. I think Brunson sort of comes in between those two things. He's a little bit stockier, but like he has just a disadvantage. It feels like in any matchup. But I agree. I agree with Logan though in terms of like this type of CJ McCollum offense. I don't think is a sustainable one. Just like we talked about sustainable offense previously, like. The Hawks just don't have enough, and they don't have enough production off their bench as well, which is concerning. But like, I hope he keeps cooking, but I just can't see it being like a sustainable. Let's go to this every single time to win this series sort of.
Yeah, I'm gonna like
Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's got to have a game, Swiper. He's got to have a game at some stage.
Yeah, I mean he needs.
What kind of game though, Damien? Like,
Josh
what do
Hart
something
right now. Yeah, Josh Hart boxing him right now.
I mean, he's going to get most of his in transition. And obviously, he's as a superior athlete, so that's going to count on their defense. When you put defensive guys out there, like Logan said, you suffer a bit offensively. So you're sort of rolling the dice a little bit. Or can we turn these guys over and then get Jalen Johnson going in transition? Like it's like the playoffs are brilliant because it's a bit of a push and pull, a tug of war a bit on what decision making you have. But like I've seen Jalen Johnson operate a little bit like out of the mid post this year, like down low. Like he.
Here you go.
He can get to some spots.
Here you go. This is what I mean about people not realizing. I go to these games, so I want people to see this. This is Dame pregame. So this is I don't know if we can show this. He's just shooting. It's not like a basketball clip. That cool, Ron? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Is it from somebody's phone or is it
my phone?
NBA
it's from my phone. Me.
All right. Well,
you can't get copyrighted for your own.
Yeah. Well, I'm suing anyway.
They're probably just gonna laugh at us for it being trash footage, but
no, it's great footage. So this is Dame. I want people to realize this is Dame in real life. Like Dame is not tall. Watch him walk by. That dude right there is like 5'11", if that. Like 5'10". Look at this. Dame is not a big dude.
Dame's like 6 foot 6'1", and I'm gonna say he's closer to 6'1".
And I stood next to him. Like he's not.
I want to say he's closer to 6 foot.
He's not tall. I think the issue is Dame is just an unreal dribbler, shooter, and like athlete, especially when he was younger. I think some of this is just like y'all like Brunson. The reason why he is such a negative defensively is literally, to Damian's point, he cannot do anything about what's happening to him.
Chris Paul was awesome, and Chris Paul was small. I'm sick of hearing that shit, man. Chris Paul was little. He was 6'1".
Chris Paul is an athlete, dude. Like, especially when he was young. Chris Paul was a great athlete when he was young.
But the basis of this
Chris Paul might be the best defender at his size.
Ever. Maybe one of them.
But Chris Paul is
an outlier.
Unless there's someone I'm
forgetting. Chris Paul is solidly built too. Like Chris Paul was he was stuck, more stocky than
he's a smarter defender. He had way better hands. He was small too. He was also stronger than 6'1". I mean,
my issue is that like I think it's a combination of both. I don't disagree with you. Like I think Brunson just has physical limitations he can't overcome, but I do think he could try harder. I'm disappointed in his effort routinely defensively as well, but back to like the advantage that I see for the Knicks in this series, it really is that offensive ease where the two lead guys for the Knicks, I think the Hawks have personnel that they can do to slow down Brunson a little bit in terms of his impact. And A-Dub and Dyson are one of the best guard tandems you could throw at him theoretically. But again, like Damian was saying, that push-pull element, anytime you go with those defensively slanted lineups with those guys, you're giving some up offensively. And then the big mismatch to me, and I've been critical of this guy in the past, I don't think the Hawks have any answer for Cat. That's one of the big advantages I have for the Knicks in this series, where size-wise, he can shoot over anybody Atlanta puts over on him. They don't have anybody physically that can actually, even though he's not a great post-up guy or mismatch attacker, they don't have anybody that can actually match him physically. And then one of the big problems with this Hawks defense as a whole is they don't have any genuine rim protection or depth beyond that. And that's where That's what made the Game 2 loss so uncharacteristic for the Knicks. You're telling me it's a clutch game in the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks and the Knicks don't slam the door? It's super strange. And that's where later in this series, I think the Hawks can keep games close, can get down to the wire in this. I would be pretty surprised if the Hawks won another clutch game the way they did against New York in Game 2. Their process was bad too. The way the Hawks are attacking Brunson in the action every time in the fourth quarter, they need to do that with CJ McCollum. And maybe not necessarily with Brunson, but with somebody. Like McCollum may be less of a defensive liability than Brunson. He's still a defensive liability. And I think the Knicks have to do a better job of attacking him late in games too.
Yeah. I agree they don't have an answer for Cat, but it's also not hard to take Cat out the game. So it's like if Cat gets the ball, they don't have an answer, but it's not hard to stop Cat from getting the ball when you play the Knicks. So
he was cooking in the third as well, and then they just stopped going to him. So I mean that's been a theme all year.
Yeah, they put Jonathan Kuminga on him and he just stopped touching the ball.
Yep.
All right, y'all. I want to make sure that we get a little bit of time for this last game, even though it's probably going to be the least interesting out of the three. We have the Denver Nuggets playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Fellas, Game 3, series tied 1-1. We are now in Minnesota. How do we feel about this game?
It depends on if Ant plays or not. Game time decision.
I think he's been a game time decision for each game, unless I'm tripping out. I think he's been. So he's going. I would expect him to play, but who knows?
He look all right. Nothing wrong with that boy.
Man, this is a hell of a series.
He definitely looks compromised. I think he looks compromised, but I think
he looks compromised, but he still looks good though. And part of that is how good he is. But
I don't know. It's weird. Some plays he looks explosive. Some plays he looks weird. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a weird.
I mean, it's more of a pain tolerance thing. That's why. So it's just like, how is he feeling on any given possession? This is gonna be the game where Denver hold Minnesota to like 102. And then we're gonna be back here tomorrow talking about their defense fake. So that's probably
so be the second game back here tomorrow. Basically.
Yeah, so I think Denver probably gonna win tonight. Yeah, and it's gonna be one of those lower scoring games for the Wolves. And then
this is one of your favorite games. I promise you that, Ox. This is gonna be one of your favorite games. You know why this is gonna be one of your favorite games? Just off the strength of being a baller. You think I'm lunch. You think I'm whack. This ain't got nothing to do with X and O's. This ain't got nothing to do with basketball or none of that. You think I'm whack as a basketball player. Prove it. Prove it right here, right now.
Real beef.
You straight called us out. You said we all lunch.
Rivalry,
prove it.
Yeah. He should have left Aaron Gordon alone.
Remember we had this combo 2 months ago?
That's all.
Ain't nobody worried about Aaron Gordon.
Matter of fact,
I'm telling you right now, he should have left
Aaron Gordon alone. Worried about
it might have been
Aaron Gordon out of this shit.
Yes, it might have been.
Hey, you better keep him out of it.
We had this, Logan. We had this conversation maybe a month and a half ago when Chill was talking about. Remember we were diversifying the conferences. Chill, we're getting a Seattle team, so we're sending Minnesota, and we were talking about rivalries. I remember Mars. I think at the time you were on the side that there weren't rivalries, and I think I was arguing that the Minnesota Denver one. I don't want to misspeak for you, but I'm misremembering if you did say that.
Yep. My thing was you didn't need divisions to have rivalries. That was my
sure.
I don't think Minnesota and Denver are rivals because they're in the same division.
Sure. Well, I think that helps them because they obviously
play more. Yeah,
man, this is it's a bloodbath rivalry. I mean, I can't say that. I mean, they have respect for each other at the top, but I think the outside of Ant and Yoke.
No, they don't. He literally said they all lunch.
Ant and Yoke have a respect for each other. I think the real diagnosis of this team is when you get outside of that, like Jaden, Rudy and Jokic have respect for each other. Jaden, Julius, like all these other players, then that's where the war is. And it's really Jaden, because Jaden is the one that talks the most. Nas also talks.
He ain't really strike me as that.
AG doesn't talk.
But Jaden's just very monotone. He doesn't speak a lot. He's very blunt. He's very blunt with what he says. So
did you guys disagree or like hate his? I thought his comments. I kind of liked it. I thought it was entertaining and kind of funny. I like him being real. I
thought it was truthful.
I liked it.
I don't really have a problem with what most players say.
Hey, Ron, stop playing, Ron. They ain't all lunch, Ron. Not every last one of them out.
If I'm Cam,
he thinks they are.
If I'm Cam Johnson, then we're getting in the game. Then like, bro, you haven't scored on me all series, so I don't know what you mentioned my name for. If I was Cam, but again, none of the Nuggets do any of this talking. So I think for the people are like, why aren't they going to say anything? Nobody on the team talks. Murray doesn't even talk. He talks to the crowd.
They got a chip. What do they need to say?
I mean, that's also too. Like, man, you haven't won anything. So I mean, it's going to be a war. Like, it's definitely going to be a war. Like, it's definitely going to be a war. Like, it's definitely going to be a war for sure.
I love this series, man.
Yeah, I didn't mind it either. I love it. Like, I like fighting. So let's get to it.
These dudes is fools.
All right. I'm definitely looking forward to this game tonight. I can't wait. Last game was obviously a thriller. This next game, I'm expecting this game to also be, down to the wire. So we will see if Anthony Edwards can repeat what he did last game. We will see if Rudy Gobert can repeat what he did last game. We'll see if Jokic can have, that Jokic game that we're expecting. And we'll see if Jamal Murray can, be the guy that was in the clutch player of the year, voting and all of that good stuff. But as of right now, friends, family, chat, everybody that's in here, we got super chats. We are winding down towards the end of the show. If you're in here, make sure you like the video. If you're in here, make sure you become a member because our members only streams are right around the corner and we have new perks for everybody. And also, if you're in here, send through any super chat that you want us to talk about or any questions or pushback that you have to any of our takes, especially the bad ones. All right. The first super chat I got is from Mayoa 2921 said Dub Shea for putting on that clinic last night. Seems his jumper is finally back. Dub is going to be such a miss. The bench lineup blew a 20-point lead without him. Hopefully the hammy strain isn't bad.
Finally, he had one game missing jumpers. Finally, one game.
I don't like these hamstrings here. This multiple hamstring stuff's not good, man. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll monitor that and see what's going on. In the meantime, the People's 23 said, shout out to nerds for giving my Thunder the love they deserve. I love you guys podcast. Watched it this morning. Do you think we can repeat this year the way Chet, SGA, and Dub when he comes back playing?
Certainly. I mean, if you guys ever want Thunder Glaze, that's all me and Carson basically do is talk them up. I mean, but with the way that Dub and Chet have looked, especially, and like you guys mentioned, like I think Dub has to be healthy for them to emphatically win the title. But it's the difference between them being a good champion and like a legendary champion. I mean, you can't take for granted this team has had a historically great defense for 2 seasons. They've won back-to-back 60-win seasons. Like, this is a historically great basketball team. And if Chet and Dub are healthy and playing the way they have to begin the playoffs, like this could be a dominant title win. The real test is obviously going to be the conference finals because they're going to mow down whoever they take on in the second round. But certainly, the Thunder are my favorite, and I expect them to repeat.
Hey, yo, chill. I know injuries are taking apart in some of the level of teams we're seeing right now, and Chet, or not Chet, I'm sorry, Wemby face planting the other night and all of this. You can't tell me the East don't look better than the West right now.
It doesn't.
What do you mean in terms of entertainment or quality, just or both?
A little bit of both, Mars. Like a little bit of both.
Portland just beat the Spurs. Wolves 1-1 with the Nuggets.
Bro, on that 1-8
that doesn't. What are you
East,
saying, Swiper? What are you saying?
That's
not saying anything.
The whole playoffs
between Orlando and that.
There's only 2 lopsided series, and they're in one in each conference.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's in response to what I was saying, Mars, but that's that doesn't mean.
That doesn't mean the quality is better.
Yeah, the quality. These teams, like, I'm just not seeing it right now. And mind you, there's a lot of injury taking place in that conversation as well. I'm just maybe not better, but it does. The West doesn't look better than the East. I'll say that.
I mean, yeah, that's what the Lakers Rockets series has just
2 floor teams playing each other.
I guess. Like it's just and then the Pistons Magic series, like, it's competitive, but I don't think that's like showing the best display of quality. I think the best series I think that are displaying, I guess, quality would probably be
Denver and Minnesota.
Denver, Minnesota,
Atlanta and the Knicks, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these first round series are a bit more grinded out defensive series, which is not a problem.
Sure.
but just a little bit different. I think the second round and beyond is when you start weeding out the
Celtics,
teams.
Philly. No, I mean,
I don't think
right
that series
now,
has been the greatest show quality either. It's been more like
I'm saying there's better. I think there's more quality teams right now in the East.
I just stood on this foot.
I think if we go cross match, let's go 8 in East plays 1 in West. That type of cross match, all the way down.
also Orlando versus OKC.
I'm not saying
Thunder in 3.
No, I'm not saying that they beat. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Yes, Mars. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
I think the East.
You're saying basically Orlando would do better against OKC than Phoenix would do against Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the East might. I think if we did something like that, I think the East might. And we could just go. We can go 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. However, anyway that makes sense to where we can.
I don't think there's been a substantial gap shown in the playoffs. I don't think there's.
What is
part of that is
Philly
because
against
the
San
West is
Antonio?
healthy.
Even with no Embiid and now no Wemby. What is Phoenix? What does Philly look like against San Antonio?
I don't know. I know Boston beat San Antonio.
Well, that's the 2 and the 2.
I'd assume Philly would be down to.
I think there's still worse teams in the East.
Well,
than
Wemby
in the West.
Well,
I'd assume they'd be down to.
I just to this day, Ron and I have had this conversation numerous times, and I don't think that the East is better than the West, but it ain't whack. That's it.
It's more balanced than I thought coming into the playoffs.
It's not whack.
Well, that's because the Lakers aren't healthy. The Lakers aren't healthy, and they're playing versus one of the worst teams we've ever seen in the playoff format.
Philly's not healthy.
And then Philly's not healthy.
Hey, Embiid participated in practice a little bit.
And they just waxed Boston. VJ Edgecombe became the first player since Tim Duncan to do what he did. Youngest rookie to ever do that. And we shouldn't be surprised. Obviously, Marge, where did he go to school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Baylor.
And then on the other end of this too, like the Magic. Chill, don't roll your eyes. You wish you had somebody like that you could pull on.
I'm sorry, but the starting center for the Boston Celtics went to Utah State. Just put that on your mind. Cater.
No, but you don't big up him. Then be better.
Quiet.
Then be better.
Quiet.
I need to hear more. Matter of fact, I praise Cater more than you do, Mark.
That out there.
Oh, now tell me I'm lying. I praise Cater more than he does.
The Boston Celtics, who people who think going to win an NBA championship, went to Utah State. So that's all I'm going to say.
And he was getting.
Yeah, and he got worked by the Baylor.
Yeah, he was getting catered to. Hey, he was getting catered to in that game. That's what was happening to him. Chill, sing it with me. Cater to you.
As you were saying, Ron.
Chris Taugo, I think that's how you say your name. Chris Talk, I'll just call you Chris. Chris said Orlando needs to run the Miami offense that was created for LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Both LeBron and D Wade did the same thing, and they had shooters.
Orlando
that was Udonis Haslam's suggestion to Paolo, wasn't it? That he needs to go and watch film on the Heatles to maximize him and Franz next to each other. So maybe there's some truth there.
Level of athletes that LeBron and Wade were, but I would like to see Paolo be more willing to push pace. I do think that would be in his best interests.
Definitely, he's a ball stopper in transition.
Hey brother,
not good in transition.
If we were blessed with 6'10", 260, boy, yeah, I would have ran through everybody. I'm not gonna lie, you never would have stopped me. I'd have been worse than Denny. I'd be worse than Denny right now, Damian.
You would have still been up.
Bro, they can't stop you now.
No, I would have been playing. I would have played DN somewhere. I would have been playing DN somewhere.
All right, Spacey02 said, which player in NBA history is best suited to play against OKC's defense? In my opinion, it's either 2016 through 2018 LeBron or 2000 Shaq because of the strength and playmaking.
Good choices.
Yeah, but that's so basic. Like,
LeBron's
a good answer to go up against whatever defense ever, and so Shaq. Right? So, so I guess more a rogue answer. Yeah, shit. Give me Prime Duck. I think Prime Duck tries this defense. Because he doesn't need to put the ball on the floor.
I dare you to put Luke Dort on dirt in 2003 or 2000.
He don't need to put the ball. He don't need to put the ball on the floor.
I dare you.
The moment he catches it, he's either too strong for Chet, too agile for guys like Isaiah Hartenstein, and he's too big for guys like
Scorch him.
He's just a walking.
I want to give a little. I'll give a little love to Sean Kemp here. I think Sean Kemp would be good versus this defense. I think he's shown a propensity to be able to play against 4s and 5s before in the 1990s. That's my fun answer. I think Sean Kemp would have been a good one.
Fun answers only, man. We tired of this LeBron, MJ, Shaq, yeah, whatever. Man.
Give me T-Mac.
Brother.
I gotta run
Tracy McGrady.
All right, Damien.
T-Mac, Hezzy Pools.
That Denver Nuggets team that lost to the Lakers in 09 in the West Finals, I don't hate y'all playing against Oklahoma City with Carmelo Anthony and Chauncey Billups. I don't hate y'all.
Chauncey, maybe. Melo.
Yeah.
As much as I mean, you know, well, no, actually, yes, Melo. Yes, because there's a hater right up here in Logan that's a Melo hater. He thinks Paul Pierce is better.
Dude, he's got some of the most inefficient playoff runs of all time,
again, nurse stats. This guy right here.
You didn't get nurse stats.
What did Melo ever do as the best guy on the team?
Yeah, he did a lot, actually.
He was hooping. That's what he was doing.
First down.
Look, he got buckets. I'll give him that. He damn sure ain't win shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. He ran into who again? All the time? The Spurs, the Lakers. Goodness gracious.
Dirk spanked that ass. We ain't making no excuses for Dirk.
With who?
Done.
Dirk with who? With who? And then what happened? What happened in 11? What had to adjust for Dirk to be able to do that? Tyson Chandler. He had to play second fiddle to Jason Terry.
Are you gonna hate on somebody building a good team around the
star? To Jason Terry.
All right, so
Logan was great connecting, brother.
All right, Dame. We'll catch up with you later, my man.
All right, bro.
Huncho7612 sent through a super chat and said, I think Paolo and Franz are like post 21 Bron and AD. When Bron went from playing the point guard in 20 and the 3 in 2021 to playing more like the 4. AD also wanted to play like a 4, but played the 5. It was redundant.
I don't think it was redundant, if I'm being honest. I think it was ruined by injuries.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think Paolo and Franz are redundant. I just don't think they're that good.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think a lot of the perception around Paolo and Franz, I don't know if you guys agree, but like I think a lot of the wins that they get attributed to both of them when the real strength of this team has been the defense for a few years now. And like that's the bedrock. And then they went all in on this year trading 4 first-round picks to go and get Desmond Bane, and yet Paolo and Franz really didn't, and partially is this due to injuries, they didn't take any of the skill developments naturally that you were going to have in-house, ball handling, playmaking, shooting. I kind of agree with you, Mars. I just don't think they're as good. Maybe
it's not. I don't think they're not Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum because of redundancy. It's because they're not Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like that's it. It's a talent issue. They aren't good enough to be the level of duo people keep comparing them to. Like that to me is the biggest.
They've
issue.
won,
and I think they're both individually solid players.
Mm-hmm.
Like I prefer Franz. I definitely prefer Franz. But like the talent, I think is evident. But they're also just not. Like, we was talking about MJ and Pippen complementing each other. Like regardless if they complement each other or not, they are better. Both of them are better than the best player of this duo. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are both better than Franz and Paolo.
100p.
Whichever duo you want to go to. Oh, look, these wings complement each other. I
first
guarantee
3 games of the series last year, Paulo Banchero, I don't know if they're objectively better than that.
Playoff rise of Paolo?
Yeah, playoff.
Yeah,
he'll be back
Paolo's
game
knocking
3.
down 60% of his pull-ups. He's unstoppable.
I mean, yeah, if you get that, Paolo, but then once again, they don't look redundant when Paolo making jumpers, do they? Like when Paolo looks like a better player, they don't look redundant.
Yeah, unfortunately,
But that's the
Paolo's been
problem.
the
Then,
worst
yeah.
jump shooter in basketball for like 2 years now.
So they don't look redundant when they actually look like better basketball players. They look perfectly fine together.
So you saying when Franz looks like a better player too?
Yeah.
Whenever he decides to show up in the playoffs.
I also want it to be made abundantly clear. Franz closed out game 1. So like this whole gimmick that you're running that Franz has been
he played all right in the 4th.
He closed them out. Yeah, he closed them out in game 1.
He played all right.
Once again, Franz has been met in this series.
Bully Cade on one of those possessions too.
But Mars though, this isn't just a this series thing too. Last year against the Cavs, he was.
This goes back to Michigan. You see what Franz did in the tournament when they go sent home? Like Franz's big game credentials have been in question for years. Like at this point, so you know.
Chip, can I ask this before I go? Chill. Who are the 49ers taking tonight? By the way, the first round NFL draft is tonight. And Logan, please tell me who's the 49ers taking for you two.
We need a cornerback, and that's what we need. A secondary.
Hood, so
guy.
maybe Hood. Okay,
Yeah,
from Tennessee.
We need a secondary guy. That's what's going to help us.
Logan, please. I know you do a lot of football content as well. Who are the 49ers taking in this draft?
Niners.
Who's the steal of the draft too in the first round? By the way,
the guy I want. I'm a Steelers fan. I want the Steelers to take and he's projected to go second round. I want him to get that linebacker out of Texas Tech. I know Rodriguez ain't that big. He's got football instincts, and I just think. I don't know. I want the Steelers to take a linebacker because we lost Patrick Queen. He's just a stud. if there's a guy that that can play like Caleb Downs, I think people are overthinking Caleb Downs. Like, I'm less of a positional value kind of at the top of the draft. Yes, take, tackles, ends, QBs. But if you're going to get a good football player, you're getting a good football player. So I like Rodriguez and Downs. I just think they're sure things.
Okay, I like that. Who do you think your team takes, Ron?
I was gonna say, Swiper, you're not gonna ask me. I wore this hat just for you.
Ron's Googling right now.
Not you. I wore this just for you, Swiper. But I think we're gonna trade back. I want us to take the running back from Arkansas, Mike Washington.
Washington Jr. in the second round.
Yeah, he is a no. I want to. So we got the 32nd overall pick. We obviously need a running back.
You want him to take him in the first round?
I mean, yeah.
He's a third round grade, brother.
I really got stuff to do to that.
He's really second or third round.
I do.
But if we can't get Buddy from Notre Dame, but hold on, Swiper before you
Jadarian,
yeah, Jadarian. I would like us to get him too. But Swiper, you got 2 super chats with your names in them, so I want to make sure that the people get their money's worth.
Yep.
Also, Lo, I know you said you had to leave around this time, so if you got to step out, my friend, appreciate you. But if you do want to stick around, we got a couple more super chats.
I would. I think my dog's about to use a bathroom on herself, so I'm gonna go walk her real quick. But
love nerds.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Logan.
Y'all.
Love nerds.
All right. The rest of you niggas stay right where you at and don't move.
So get to it then, Ron.
All right. But Swiper, you know who else I would like for us to pick? All right, okay, damn. Nims gassed up. 405 says, Swiper, you tired and cranky today from twisting yourself into a pretzel to defend 15's defense? Must be super exhausting doing that all day. Damn, Swiper, you been pretzeled up all week?
I have. No, you know what? I'm actually not tired at all. I feel great. All of the hate comments, it's all energy and engagement. It just means more money is what I've just settled with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine with me. Like, I had 700 more people in my live chill on the loss than on the win. Like, there was 2,500 people watching the live as opposed to 1,800 watching the win. So, that's all fun for me.
Swipe, if I was you, I'd be praying for losses. Damn.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Man.
Matter of fact, can we get another stinker? And matter of fact, the Wolves score 130 today. And it's going to be 4,000 people in there. So shout out, man.
Money, man.
I know what I'll be in there doing.
Twerking and clapping like you normally do.
Swiper, when did you unpretzel yourself? Did you do it right before the show? Did you do it a couple hours before the show?
Hey, for enough money, just like you, I'm still in the pretzel. How about that?
For enough money?
For enough money, just like Ron, I'm still in the pretzel. Shout out, bro.
If Minnesota goes 130 today and I get a 22
stinker and Jokic is like 9 for 27
from Joker, oh my goodness.
He had one of those games in 23 against Minnesota. It was like 8 for 27 or something.
Yeah, that was game 3 maybe or something like that.
That's a tour day right there.
I'm not mistaken. Didn't he have one of them games?
Hey, empty the clip FC though. Shout out, man. Put 27 shots up.
Didn't he?
All right, Swiper, I got one more super chat. This is for you and Mars. From the Blackest Panther. Said, Mars always in his hoodie, looking like Blackie Chan. Swiper, your time will come. But Wolves in 6. Legault and friends winning in 6. Shout out to Paolo Banchero.
Henshire.
Yeah, man. Shouts, man.
No. Shout out my man Pinchero. The next super chat is from Ginger BM. Said, OKC ain't the only team that flops. Laughing my ass off. Jokic flops more than any player in the NBA, but MFs only want to talk about Shea.
Matter of fact, after Jokic flops more than any other player in any playoff game tonight, I'm going to blame Jamal for Jokic flopping in this game. So make sure you pull up in the post-game show so you can hear me scapegoat Jokic again. Shout out.
I mean, but the thing about it is,
all right, Swiper.
Not true. You just people only hear what they want to hear.
No. They're exactly right. Tune in to watch me scapegoat. Shut up.
So maybe that is what Swiper does. Absolutely, but I do know like. When SGA does it, people just get they push back on that. But I mean, we get sick of everybody flopping, including Jokic, including Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of people.
It's corny. Let's call it what it is, Alex. It's corny. It's super corny.
But you know what's funny? The biggest flopper that I know is Ron. because as soon as we get in a one-on-one situation, he flops all over the place and calls for help from Chill. And Chill has to put the Batman single up. I'm going to save Ron.
All I know is, I was on the top of that dome, swiper.
See where we are. This is why we.
And that crystal ball was nice and waxed that night, boy. That's all I know.
As you were saying, Ron. What were you saying, Ron?
Same OG actually was saying that it's hard to judge Orlando's defense based on in-season numbers when their 3 best defenders missed most of the season. Franz, Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs.
I agree. It's not hard to judge what they did, you know?
Where do they rank in defense? I don't know, but they're a good defense. I think everyone agrees on that. It's just their offense is egregious, but they were 14th in defense.
Is Jonathan Isaac gonna just retire or what?
Yeah, he ain't.
I forgot they even had him. Shit.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think he's gonna get another contract. But let's see how long he got, because he's still got years. I think because they extended him a couple years back, so he might got a couple years left. Yeah, Jonathan Isaac gonna be around for a little while. He go till 2029. Yeah, he gonna be around.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him. He getting that money. Tyler Talley sent through a super chat and said, "Ox, flopping is a disgrace. Fuck all time greats. Also, Ox, Kawhi flopping all year for a career year."
We don't respond to Tyler Talley.
He a hater?
Why?
Is he a hater?
Kawhi be flopping? Oh,
why, big guy?
You know,
why can't we respond to him?
Because of shit like that. People just talk dumb shit. Like if Kawhi was known to be a flopper, if he was a habitual flopper, he wouldn't be one of my favorite players. You know what I'm saying? Like he did, but I see the thing is, Ron, the problem is I can't come up here and say Kawhi doesn't flop. Because if I say that, oh, you just saw Kawhi, this is Kawhi. Like when do y'all be seeing Kawhi flopping? I see Kawhi get hit and shoot the ball to try to score. That's what I see. But hey, okay, whatever. I don't...
All right, Chris Tago said, How is reffing a thankless job? They getting paid a lot of money and are protected by a union,
and not have to put up with nearly as much, and has to put up with way more nonsense than anybody else. Way more.
Well, no, the players get more nonsense.
No, the players get more nonsense because the referees, to your point, don't get in front of the microphone after games, but during games, yes.
It is a thankless job because nobody's like you've never heard, and if you have heard, you might have heard it once or twice. People say, "Oh man, that was a great game, and the officials did a great job officiating that basketball game." You don't hear that. You know what I'm saying? You only hear that was terrible.
Silence is the ref's thanks. That's what it is. Silence is the ref's thanks.
But that's not a thing. Silence.
Yeah, I agree. You
know, it's like paying bills. You know what I'm saying? Like your kids ain't gonna thank you for paying the light bill. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. You know what I mean? But it's like, and that's why I know for sure. Like when I was young, my mom used to always make me go, say thanks to the ref, shake the ref's hands and stuff like that. Like my teams right now, I make sure my players, go say thank you to the refs because they got a rough job, man. They got a really rough job. I feel bad for the way I used to act towards refs in like high school and stuff like that.
I've seen the way you ref, so yeah, you probably should be thanking them.
I'm telling you, Mars, I've almost gotten into a couple fights because of like my terrible reffing, and I just was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore because I'm really not good.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should do something.
Just sometimes you gotta be able to understand when you're the problem. Mm-hmm. And I was definitely the problem. Terrible ref.
There you go. Here's my whistle. I think I'm good.
All right, Small Boxes, who is a Hall of Famer, sent through a super chat and said the issue with the Simmons thing is the NBA establishing the 65-game rule and immediately undermining it by allowing star players to file exemptions.
Well, I think the exemption thing existed from the start. This is the first year it's been filed because we had outstanding circumstances. But yeah, I think the rule sucks.
Yep.
All right, 206 Nate said Chet Holmgren is the best / most technically sound defender in the world. Elite rim protection and versatility. Do y'all agree with this?
Sometimes.
No, I think Rudy's probably the most sound big defender, but I think Chet's probably second.
Sometimes he is, and sometimes he's foolish.
I think Mobley is right there, and Amin Thompson too.
Yeah, I got him in as well. Tupac Westside said, refs definitely have a hard job. So how are they accountable? So how are they held accountable? So how they are held accountable could be tricky. Also, my pops was an officer, so thanks, Ox, for showing respect. Big Ox.
Mars, don't think I ain't saw Thompson rip.
See you showing the Buster some love.
Floor too. Don't think I didn't recognize it. I did see that. Yes, I did.
You probably just thought a man would have got 2 steals on that possession. That's fine.
Nah, but shout out to your pops though. I got love for good cops. You know what I'm saying?
You remember that time you baked some cookies? You and your girl, y'all baked some cookies and took it over to the station?
I'm not gonna play with you, bro.
I'm just saying. You are an upstanding citizen for that.
As a grown adult, you know what I'm saying? Like you should have love for good cops. You know what I'm saying? Like you should, because we got to be real. There's some sickos out here. There's people out here. There are real criminals out here. You know what I'm saying? It's like what would most regular civilians do? Who would protect them? You know what I'm saying? Like this, there's some people out here that don't need help, don't need protection, but most people do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, unless you're gonna go out there and police your community and you know what I'm saying, make sure people are held are safe. You know what I'm saying? You need good cops. You need good cops. So shout out to the good cops, man. Keep doing your thing.
Shout them out.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and do some oatmeal raisins for him this next time when you do that. They probably tired of the chocolate chips.
You know I'm about to see you in 12 hours, bro. Like, not 12 hours. In 16 hours. I'm going to see you in 16 hours.
I wish I was there.
You're not going to remember this.
So
you have bigger problems.
My math was off. Chill, I play tomorrow in Bellevue. 30 minutes away from Ron is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I play at 9
and you
a.m.
lose 30 minutes away from Ron is at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
I'm about to see him tomorrow. Ron plays right after me.
Hey, chill. I got a big fella named Hans. I got a big fella named Hans who finna eat show lunch tomorrow, and I'm recording it. The whole panel gonna see it. The whole world gonna see you get fried, nigga.
We play Columbus at 9. We don't play.
Oh, okay. Well, shit, they gonna have somebody that's gonna eat your lunch.
You gonna get front. What's his name? Hans. You gonna get Hans.
Hey, you'll see. Hey, you'll see.
Anyways, move on.
MN Timberwolves FC said, "What's with bad defenders being good rebounders?"
You mean like Kevin Love in Minnesota? Because you're a Minnesota fan, I could see from. You mean like Kevin Love, like Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin was an elite rebounder. Yeah, it happens. Andre Drummond. I don't think Andre Drummond was a terrible defender. I think he was solid, but he was an elite rebounder. I think that bad, quote unquote, bad defenders, especially bigs in particular, I think that their job has always been taught to rebound. So if you rebound a basketball, you stop plays. The idea of blocking shots, the idea of manning the paint, that's almost like that's secondary. Like, get the ball once they shoot it.
Same OG sent through another super chat about the Orlando Magic saying, why does Paolo get the blame for Orlando's offense like he's blowing up the plays the coach is calling by jogging the ball? LOL.
I don't know what that means.
I just don't think he's that good offensively. But I don't blame him for their offense. There's a lot of things that go into a team offense being bad.
Yeah, I would probably blame the best player, and that's not Paolo. So that's that.
Word.
We got 3 new members today that I want to show some love to. The first one is Clint K. Shout out to Clint K for joining up as a member. NECA. Shout out to NECA. And last but not least, L-Man or I-Man 1911. Shout out to I-Man. Shout out to NECA. Appreciate you guys for joining. We have 2 members chats from 2 people that we know very well before we get up out of here. And you guys make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, do all of that good stuff. But MTEL22 sent through a members chat. MTEL said, interesting who comes after a bad Magic loss. Thought that was pretty interesting too. We'll see who will be up here after a win. We'll see, MTEL. And last but probably
least two. A guy by the name of Mike the Champ 03 said Boston winning the chip. Tatum is greater than Wemby.
I have Tatum over Wemby all time. Yeah, I have Tatum over Wemby all time.
I absolutely agree. Speaking of NECA, the WNBA season is coming soon. Actually, preseason starts next Sunday. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it to the game. The Portland Fire are playing against the Los Angeles Sparks. So, speaking of NECA, she'll be up here. She went
she
back
gonna be up
home.
there selling the bag.
If any of y'all don't know, she went back home. She got tired of that Seattle shit.
She got tired of playing for a winning franchise, huh? Yeah, sure.
Like when it becomes old.
All right, y'all. It was fun. It was real. We will be back same time tomorrow to talk about everything that happens between now and then. Y'all like the video, and we will see you soon on our streams.
Christmas.
Eat it, haters.